Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, home to award-winning host Dan Patrick. Also home to Paulie, Seton, Fritz, and our new best friend, Ethan. Oh, and also McLovin. But back to Ethan.
I love that guy.
Ethan is an Ivy League grad of the highest pedigree.
The Ivy League school.
He went to Harvard?
He went to Harvard.
A man who contributes interesting stats and factoids for all of our entertainment.
And he's really good at what he does.
I heard he's 6'6".
Really on the fast track right now.
Bench pressed 230 pounds.
And he's from Philadelphia.
Pretty soon, people will be saying, Pearl who?
I'm Ethan Cooperson Light.
Yes.
From the Mercedes Man Cave, here's the original pre-Ethan crew
It's going to change.
of the Dan Patrick Show.
Welcome to the program. It's hour one on this Thursday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Morale is high, except for one part of the man cave, back where McLovin sits. You got a serious look on your face after the display that Ethan, our stats guy, put on yesterday. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm a little rattled by Ethan. First of all, he's not from Philadelphia. He's from Wilmington, Delaware, which is a suburb of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia proper?
Yeah, it's Eagles country. Yeah, no, it's definitely an issue here. Like, I'm looking, I'm going to send you some stats, some analytics
Are you
here.
officially from Philadelphia?
Oh, because I'm from the suburbs of Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Well, I guess so. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Are you officially from Cincinnati?
Well, I have to say that because people don't know where Mason, Ohio is. So when I say that, it'll be Cincinnati proper. But I'm not in a feud with anybody. I'm not in a rivalry with anybody right now to prove anything.
Where does Ethan stand on all this? Like, I couldn't tell.
Ethan just does his job. He just sends stats in sometimes. Most of the time, I don't even have to say anything to him. Just say something on the air, and he sends it to me.
Is there any point where there are going to be just too many stats that you're going to be overwhelmed with this? Or are you cool with it?
I would like to be drunk with stats. I would like to. Hasn't happened. And how many years have we been doing this together?
A lot.
Yeah.
Well, now you have accurate stats, too.
True. You're right. I've been drunk with stats, just not accurate ones. All right, welcome to the program. Already in progress, as you can tell. Glad to have you part of the program in whatever way you might be listening or watching. New T-shirts came in. The Cam Newton T-shirts came in. Seton's got his on. Paulie has his on. The Cam Chowda. Looks good. Those T-shirts are available up on the website, danpatrick.com. We have a poll question. We got a play of the day. We check in with the LSU head coach, Ed Orgeron. He'll join us a little bit later on. Chris Haynes, our favorite from Yahoo Sports, covering the NBA from the bubble, will join us as well. 877-3DP-SHOW. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Oh, Ethan's sending me some stats here, and I haven't even asked for them yet. I'll get to those coming up. There are certain sports arguments that just don't go away. For serious NFL fans, one of the bigger ones is, should you pay a running back? How much should you pay an elite running back? The Titans signed Derrick Henry yesterday, 4-year, $50 million deal. He was great last season, led the Titans to the AFC title game. But the argument goes, by the time you pay a running back, they're usually on the downside. This has always been my philosophy. If I'm going to draft somebody, they're 22 years of age, and I'm going to use a first-round pick, I'm using you up for 5 years. And then by the time you're turning 27, by the time you're turning 28, I'm already thinking about your replacement. And you're finding a lot of these rosters have dual threats. Remember what the Saints had with Alvin Kamara? That you're able to have Mark Ingram in there, so you have this 1-2 punch, inside, outside. That's how Derrick Henry started, where you have inside, outside. But, you start to look around the league, look at the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns got Kareem Hunt, and they got Nick Chubb. That's pretty impressive. Look what the Colts did in the draft. They have Marlon Mack. They went out and got Jonathan Taylor, 2,000-yard rusher out of Wisconsin. This is the trend that you have. So how much do you spend? Christian McCaffrey, Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott. Those are the top 5 guys, salary-wise. And Henry currently ranks 5th in yearly average salary for running backs. Guys ahead of him are McCaffrey, Bell, Johnson, and Zeke Elliott. Henry just turned 26. Titans are built to succeed with Derrick Henry as their star. Now, you might look at this and go, he was a starter at Alabama 1 year. And then he came into the NFL and he didn't get a ton of carries. Now, he did get a ton of carries last year, a ton of carries. That style. Now, if you said he was a 3-year starter at Alabama and was carrying 250 times the first couple of years in the NFL, I would shy away from that. But can I get at least 3 more quality years out of him? And if you can, and you were that close to the Super Bowl, going to the AFC title game, you're banking on Mike Vrabel having another quality team, quality season this year. But should you pay running backs as a close cousin of the system quarterback debate, the kind of discussion that raises interesting football questions but kind of makes you sound like a nerd? But Derrick Henry seems like he's happy, and Tennessee should be happy as well. It feels like one of those deals where you go, and we always look at deals and go, oh, he got less than. He didn't set a record for running backs. Oh, that was a failed negotiation. And I looked at it differently. I think you got to look at a couple of things here. You got to look at COVID. Now, what is happening here with the NFL, the uncertainty with the NFL and the salary cap in 2021. It might go $20 to $30 million less. And you had a source tell this to Yahoo Sports. The salary cap may drop $20 to $30 million. I don't know if that's why Patrick Mahomes signed. We'll get to Dak Prescott in a moment. But if you start to look at the free agency class of 2021, so he's going to, if they tagged him and he didn't sign the long-term deal, now he's competing against Joe Mixon in Cincinnati, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Green Bay, Dalvin Cook, James Conner, Phillip Lindsay in Denver. I think getting the guaranteed money, he likes it there. They feature him. And when you talk about guys who break big runs, it's the biggest running back in the NFL. Derrick Henry has more 50-yard runs than any other running back. I think it's a great deal for Derrick Henry. He's comfortable with it. He got guaranteed money, the uncertainty of the next season, and Tennessee has their guy that they can hand the ball to 25 times. I saw where Pro Football Focus had a stat. Actually, it's a list of the most elusive running backs in the NFL. Nick Chubb, I think Nick Chubb's, on the short list of most underrated players in the game. But, when he and Sony Michel were sharing time in college, now he's sharing time with Kareem Hunt. I think Nick Chubb is great. Not good. I think he's great. Josh Jacobs out of Alabama with the Raiders is ranked 2nd. Derrick Henry is 3rd on that list. Alvin Kamara is 4th. Dalvin Cook 5th. Austin Eckler with the Chargers is 6th. Saquon Barkley 7th. Chris Carson with the Seahawks is 8th. This according to Pro Football Focus. Devin Singletary, who I love with the Bills. I don't know how good he is, but that dude never stops, ever. Aaron Jones with the Packers had an unbelievable season last year. James Conner featured back there. So Christian McCaffrey is 13th on this list. If I said you can get these running backs for the same price, and maybe you take Christian McCaffrey out of it because he did have great numbers, although I don't know if those numbers really mean anything at the position. Like you want somebody who's going to be on the field and producing, but what are you really producing with the Carolina Panthers? McCaffrey's an anomaly in a variety of ways, but is he? Let's say you could get McCaffrey or Derrick Henry for the same price. You still going to take Christian McCaffrey? Probably so. And maybe I'd take him out. What about if I say Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry? Who are you taking? I'm guessing people would probably look at Saquon Barkley because of his ability to catch balls out of the backfield. I don't know how many catches Derrick Henry had last year. I don't know if they're trying to make him a little bit more of a dual threat there, McLevin, if you could check that. Or maybe Ethan can.
18 receptions last year.
Okay.
By the way,
eat that, Ethan.
Wow.
I'm looking at these stats. Derrick Henry has way more carries in his career than McCaffrey already. Unless I have McCaffrey, because McCaffrey has like those dual touches. He has 1 million touches, but they're split evenly between receiving and running.
Yeah, but look at the carries he had in college.
That's true. Yeah, good point.
Christian McCaffrey had a ton of carries.
But all these guys, everyone you just mentioned, has so much wear and tear already. I don't want to pay any of them.
Well, that goes back to Zeke Elliott. Like, I didn't understand that at all. Unless Jerry thought, you know what? He's playing great, and then they overpaid him. He had his holdout, and I just don't know. I think you've seen the best of Zeke Elliott. And granted, you got to see a lot of greatness out of Zeke Elliott. I just don't know. It's now a quarterback league, and you've turned it over, it feels like, well, sort of, to Dak Prescott. There were late afternoon negotiations because the deadline was 4 Eastern yesterday. And Jane Slater, who was with us yesterday on loan from the NFL Network, covers the Cowboys, said they tried to get something done. I don't understand that. You don't talk for months and then you're going to hurry up right at the deadline. This should have been done. I had a great source who told me when Zeke was getting his deal done, Dak was going to get his deal done in late August, going into, I think, the first regular season game. Said, get ready. Dak's going to sign as well. And then all of a sudden, we stretched it out. The most talked about story in NFL history. And it continues. And it'll continue this entire season. Did the Cowboys make the right decision? Did they really want Dak Prescott? Dak's betting on himself again. Did Dak ask for more money than he deserved? You could have signed Dak Prescott for the same money, I'm told, as Russell Wilson. And what did Russ get? 4 for $140? Is it something like that? You could have gotten Dak Prescott for that. And now, what's he going to cost you? And, I mean, Jerry knows that, I built this team. We can win now. I got to win now. I want one more Super Bowl. I want to prove that I can win a Super Bowl again. And you could have signed Dak Prescott and been done with this and got a bargain. And now here you go. And now you have an offense where you use your first-round pick on CeeDee Lamb. You're throwing the football this year. He's going to put up big numbers again. But you tag him again one more time, which is what I thought. That's what I would have done in the first place. If I'm not sure on Dak Prescott, then I would have tagged him. I'll tag him again next year. But I got the feeling the Cowboys weren't completely sold on Dak Prescott. They wanted to see another season. They saw the season. Dak bet on himself, and the Cowboys now have to pay the bill. Yeah, Paulie.
Any chance the Cowboys are being really smart here? They're basically renting Dak Prescott and giving it one more look-see. And also with the salary cap coming up, when it comes time to be in this position next year, the cap could be less, and they could be in a position where they can get him for less.
I think it's a distinct possibility. But I think if that happens, they accidentally fell into that because they weren't banking on a COVID-19 pandemic that's going to reduce the salary cap by $20 to $30 million. And you're going to have a guy who you bring in Mike McCarthy, and unless Mike McCarthy is not sold on Dak Prescott, like privately, I don't know. But I would think you're taking the job, and first thing you ask is, who's my quarterback? That's what coaches do. Who's the quarterback? Does the owner love that quarterback? Like Ron Rivera goes to Washington. Daniel Snyder is the one who said, we're drafting Dwayne Haskins. So you have that quarterback for a couple of years. If you go into the Cleveland Browns situation, Kevin Stefanski. Okay, who's my quarterback? Well, the owner wanted Baker Mayfield. So, he's there for a little while. This is what happens. Who's my quarterback? And can I succeed with him? But the Dak Prescott situation, I just think handled poorly by Jerry Jones. And Dak, do I think he overplayed his hand a little bit? Yeah, probably. Because I think he's an average quarterback from the standpoint of he can be great and he can be very, very suspect. And if you average it out, you're an 8-8 team that probably makes your quarterback average as well. And I can't have the highs and lows there. As much as I like Dak Prescott, would love if he was the quarterback for my team, I can't have the fluctuation of good Dak, bad Dak. And that would concern me long term. And maybe the Cowboys are doing another drive-by with it. Hey, let's just see how he does again. Bets on himself. We can always tag him again, just like Washington did with Kirk D. Cousins. But I think it's a missed opportunity for both sides. Maybe it's strategic with the Cowboys, and maybe it's strategic with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott needs the Cowboys too. The Cowboys certainly need Dak Prescott now, but Dak Prescott needs the Cowboys. It's an offense. You're the quarterback of America's team. You're going to get endorsement. You're going to get $10 million in endorsements probably each year by being the Cowboys starting quarterback. And you have to add that value into this, because if he goes to another team, you never have this marketing ability. When you think of Cowboys quarterbacks, Danny White, we still remember. You got Romo for nothing. Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman can live off being a former Cowboy quarterback the rest of his life. Roger Staubach. Even Craig Morton. Don Meredith. We know who the Cowboy quarterbacks are. Babe Laufenberg. Yeah, Paul.
Tony Romo got a huge broadcasting job as his first job out without a Super Bowl ring. You know this industry. A Super Bowl ring kind of buys you an audition at ESPN or CBS, Fox, etc. But if you don't have one, like Rodney Harrison is a very good player. Having a ring sure helps him get a look-see by NBC. And look at Tony Romo. Very good quarterback, but he's not Dan Marino.
Oh, if Rodney doesn't have Super Bowls, Rodney's not doing Football Night in America. I mean, that helps open the door, because now when you speak, you can speak from authority of, hey, played in a Super Bowl. Hey, won Super Bowls. Hey, I was part of this team, this dynasty, this franchise, that defense. But yeah, you're right. All right, we'll come up with a poll question, right, McLevin? Or should I ask Ethan?
You should definitely ask Ethan.
Ethan. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I have all these running back questions. You know, you kind of ruined my Alvin Kamara party, because I thought he was going to be the next guy to get paid. Then I looked up his numbers. They definitely went down last year.
Yeah, I said that to you, that I thought when he was with Mark Ingram, that they got a lot of attention because they had, kind of this power back, and then you had the elusive back. I don't know if he gets enough touches.
Well, he hurt his knee last year, which is another issue. Like, why you need those two guys? Because some guys, if you get more wear and tear, are just going to break down.
Ethan just sent me a number. Derrick Henry is the first player in NFL history. Actually, I should tease this because it is something special that Ethan came up with.
That good.
Yeah, it's stat good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the new segment, Stat Good with Ethan.
Ethan is stat good. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. As I mentioned earlier, we'll check in with the NBA bubble, our friend Chris Haynes from Yahoo Sports, and also Ed Orgeron, the LSU head coach. Coach O will join us coming up, final hour of the program. Phone calls are always welcome, 877-3DP-SHOW. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle with DP Show. Say good morning to Chat Row. And your proud moderator, Tyler, the moderator. Those watching on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show and our great radio affiliates, including the formidable Fox Sports Radio lineup. 19 after the hour, just getting started on this Thursday here on The Dan Patrick Show. You want to do what I'm doing? You can go through the process of what I've helped launch at Full Sail University to help you get a bachelor's degree in sportscasting, an accelerated bachelor's degree, and it teaches you all the aspects of sportscasting. Why is it whenever I read the Full Sail University copy, I stumble?
Is that irony?
Maybe. Is it ironic? Is it a coincidence? Maybe I'm just not that good. What I love about Full Sail is there's so many things to love. They combine hands-on learning. So you're learning from people who are in the business, have been in the business for decades, whether it's our directors, producers. You're going to have people who have been reporters, producers. They are going to help you. Front of the camera, behind the camera, and students will be learning the business inside and out from people who've worked in the industry at a very high level. Learn how to be a sportscaster, Full Sail University, and earn your bachelor's degree in about half the time, as short as 20 months. Full Sail. You can Earn your degree online or on campus in Orlando, Florida. Learn more about the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. Go to fullsail.edu/Dan Patrick. I mentioned the story about the Metrodome. It was 7 years ago when the stadium roof collapsed here in Minnesota. And the reason why we thought about it today, we have a member of our production team who was one of the directors. He was in the Fox truck that day or that weekend and had the foresight to say, we should put a camera on that roof because it's leaking with snow. And we call him Mango, and he's joining us now. Now, one of the bigwigs around here, but he goes by one name. So, all right, Mango. So, when did you first get an inkling that there was trouble with the Metrodome roof?
Saturday afternoon, we're at the stadium setting up, as you know, as all crews do, and the sound. It was the sound. You could hear this creaking. I mean, it was super loud. The camera guys came into the truck to me, and just said, "Derek, I think something's wrong." Like you could actually see snow. Like,
how much snow was up there?
It had snowed like a son of a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I can't remember the how many feet, but there's probably 4 feet to 6 feet of snow on top of the roof.
Now, they talked about 20 inches of snow, fresh snow that day or that 24-hour period.
Right.
And then, so you're hearing
But it was really the sound. And we were asking some of the security guys, does it normally sound like this? And they're like, no, that's a little much. So I got in touch with our producer, Richie Zients, and I actually went down in the engineering room to suss it out. And I don't know who I was talking to, but he was obviously nervous, like I am now. But he assured me, he's like, oh no, this happens all the time. We got guys on the roof. That's why you're hearing the noise, because they're spraying the snow off. But I could sense he was nervous. There was a scramble going on in that room. So I went back to the truck and was talking to Colby Bourgeois, TD, and he was the one who suggested, hey, why don't we record overnight? So we set up our high wide and one other camera. We just shot the roof from inside tight. And then Fred Aldis, the audio engineer, put a mic, and I don't know if you can hear it on the on this, but the sound was the craziest thing as it's imploding that got captured. I mean, the footage is,
But when you came in, when did you get wind that all of a sudden all hell broke loose?
When I woke up the next morning and we're getting ready to go to the game.
Yeah.
We had a game. It was Sunday morning. It was Giants Vikings. We're getting ready to go to the game. I turned the news on, and boom, we had seen that from outside. I hadn't seen the footage yet.
Oh, so
they didn't show that to the pregame show.
Okay. And then once you saw,
Menifee got to break that.
Kurt Menifee did.
Yeah.
But when you saw that video, you knew you had something.
Oh my! What if it happened during the game?
Oh, I know.
Holy, right?
Did you get an Emmy for that?
No.
What?
I think David Hill sent me a $500 check.
So the head of Fox Sports sent you $500?
Yeah.
That's better than an Emmy.
Yeah, it's better than an Emmy.
Yeah.
I got a couple of those anyway.
All right. Mango, thank you. Get out of here.
Appreciate it.
All right, there you go. Yeah. When we stopped by and I realized that Mango was working with us here in Minnesota, I said, we should have him on. And then he goes, I need to get makeup on. I go, you're not on camera. You don't need to get makeup on. He goes, I'm nervous. I said, you'll be fine. Just show the video. But how smart is that? That you sense something and you set up a camera that records all night to get one of those infamous moments there. 2, 3, 4. As I started to mention before the commercial break, thanks to Ethan, our new stats guy, Derrick Henry is the first player in NFL history to rush for at least 400 yards as a rookie and then increase that number by at least 40% in each of the next 3 seasons. He had 490 as a rookie, 744 his second year, 1,059 in 2018, and last year he rushed for 1,540. This might be one of those deals that we always want a winner and a loser. Who won? Who lost? We're doing that with Dak Prescott. With Derrick Henry, I think both sides won. I think both sides got what they wanted. You got that running back you can count on. I think they would like to expand the number of touches so it's not just him powering ahead, going into these defense. Because those running backs don't last. Eddie George was like that. Earl Campbell was like that. When you go straight, Brandon Jacobs played for the Giants. That's one of the biggest running backs. It might be the biggest running back I ever saw. We met him at a Super Bowl, and we all walked away going, and he's a running back. Brandon Jacobs was the same size as Michael Strahan, and that's no exaggeration. He might have been bigger than Michael Strahan. Inch shorter, but he was bigger. And then he ran a certain way, and then he got paid, and then he ran differently. Then all of a sudden you start protecting. Players will talk about you run to get the contract, and then you run differently after you've gotten the contract. I hope that doesn't happen with Derrick Henry because I love watching him play. I like when guys give the impression they want to tackle him, but they really don't because you go, oh, this is going to hurt. I remember defensive players doing that with Adrian Peterson. They didn't really want to tackle him, but you sort of had to, or at least try. And Derrick Henry, he puts the fear of God, I think, in some of those defensive players. And he's an elusive back, which you don't think of a power back being. And I'm happy for him. When we saw him at the Super Bowl, wonderful kid. I really enjoyed talking to him. Good sense of humor. And I hope, he gets that opportunity to continue doing what he's doing, or what he did the last 2 years with Tennessee. Yes, Paulie?
If you look at Derrick Henry's strategy, he basically got $25 million over the next 3 years, guaranteed. He cannot not get it.
Yeah.
If you go back to Le'Veon Bell, he skipped a season, lost $16 million. He made it up by getting a 2-year, basically a guaranteed contract of $27 million from the Jets. But that was the only team. The Jets kind of bailed him out. Otherwise, his strategy was not going to work.
We factor in the third year, the year that he sat out. So
over the course of 3 years, Le'Veon Bell will make $27 million, including the season he sat out, which is $2 million more than Derrick Henry's going to make. Derrick Henry didn't threaten to sit out. Melvin Gordon threatened to sit out and did, and he's going to make $13 million over that 3-year period.
I remember when he sat out, I said, this isn't going to work out well with the Chargers.
He got paid okay.
Yeah, but he made a mistake with that. He did. And now he's with Denver, and they already have a running back, Phillip Lindsay. So you're sharing time there. Jeff in St. Louis joins us. Hey, Jeff, what's on your mind today?
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Hey, I get it. Jerry Jones is a billionaire, but you're not acting like one. Why didn't you take a step back and look what the Rams did with Todd Gurley? And the same thing is going to happen with Ezekiel Elliott. That's my opinion. You seen how that totally messed up.
Oh, I know, but we're down the road on that. Thank you, Jeff. Because I'm on record as saying I wouldn't have re-signed Zeke Elliott. I just think you can find running backs, and you're really looking for a couple of running backs to do a couple of different things. Now, if you find someone like Christian McCaffrey, good luck with that, or Alvin Kamara. But I look at the Cleveland Browns. They got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. And you're hard-pressed to find a better backfield than those two guys. And the versatility. Kareem Hunt's great out of the backfield. And Nick Chubb is solid. He just is. You can play. I would have gone to Nick Chubb more because I didn't like what was going on with the offense with Baker Mayfield and trying to placate Odell Beckham Jr. I would have been a more run-first offense if I could. Take some of the pressure off Baker Mayfield. And Nick Chubb had that ability, but people forget that he split time with Sony Michel at Georgia. In fact, I think Sony Michel started and Nick Chubb came in. He started the national title game. Yes,
Wasn't there a third and a fourth, and DeAndre Swift,
Oh,
and
yeah.
there was one other guy.
Isaiah not Crowell. Crowell, I think, had to transfer. They had so many running backs there. They had a guy named Crowell, and by the Browns, he had to transfer.
Todd Gurley. Gurley was also there. Was he?
Just before.
Okay, so he was right. Yeah. I mean, what is going on in Georgia?
Well, Isaiah Crowell was with the Browns. But
Right,
was he at Georgia? I don't remember him at Georgia.
It's not a bad lineage there. Oof.
Well, when you start to think of running backs, you know, what university produces, I'm talking about today, because you've had different running backs. Nebraska had those, you know, Mike Rozier and I.M. Hip, and they had quite a few guys that were great. Johnny Rodgers. Oklahoma had great running backs. The U had great running backs. Ohio State has had quality running backs. But Georgia, it feels like that's tough competition when you go there. It's like, how many 5-star running backs do you have? Yeah, McLovin.
Remember the couple teams, Clemson, when Taj Boyd, and they had like 7 or 8 NFL wide receivers, DeAndre Hopkins and Sammy Watkins. That is a lineage too.
Well, look at LSU as well. You know, you just start to get these players, and you kind of pile them up and see if these guys want to stay. You might not be the featured guy. Go back to LSU with Odell Beckham. He wasn't the featured guy. Jarvis Landry got more of a featured look than Odell Beckham. He was more of a return guy and maybe the second or third wide receiver. Yeah, Paul.
There was a year when Auburn had Brandon Jacobs, Cadillac Williams, and Ronnie Brown. All three ran for over 1,000 yards in the NFL. And Ronnie Jacobs had to leave and go to SIU to get some playing time before getting drafted.
Steve in Florida. Hey, Steve, what do you have for me?
Hey, hello.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Dan. Always a pleasure. Hey, Dan, you know, every time I talk to you, I feel like George Costanza ordering soup, man. I'm so nervous, you know. But as original OG, we got to lay off McLovin, man. I mean, he's a sweetheart. He comes up with those great polls like, you know, would you rather have a dog or a cat or something like that, you know. We love him down here in Florida, and the show, we love you, Dan.
What, Steve, does everybody in Florida love McLovin?
9 out of 10, you know?
Okay. All right.
Wait, is it East Coast or West Coast?
Thank you,
here?
Steve. That's Steve said. I think it's just 9 out of 10 people total like you in Florida. Not 9 out of every 10, I think is what Steve was saying.
They hate Ethan in Florida. They are known for that. Ethan can't even walk the streets of Boca Raton. Ethan
just does his job, doesn't ask for, you know, recognition.
Is Ethan sending you notes like one-on-one? Are you guys having a stats affair without us here? Is that what's going on? Because we're not getting these notes anymore.
Yeah, well, Ethan sends them to me because he doesn't want to make you feel bad. Because if you see it, then there's competition, and Ethan just does his job. He's a pro's pro.
Are you sitting around at night like glowing, looking at your phone? Or is your wife like, who are you texting with?
Yeah, late night texting with Ethan, the stats guy.
Like the State Farm commercial?
Who you talking to?
It's Ethan.
Yeah. Ethan, what are you wearing? Khakis.
Ethan also starts movies and then stops halfway through.
Yeah.
He watches them in parts day over day. Like, hey, Dan, just watched half of Big Lebowski. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Then he puts on the Sacramento Kings game, and you guys chop that up.
Yeah. Ethan also waited 10 years to watch Breaking Bad, has never watched The Sopranos. And he loves Hamilton.
Hates Goodfellas.
The original cast.
He's seen it
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah, he has.
Pretty much everybody loves Hamilton except for Seton.
For Seton and his family. All right, so what's the poll question we're going with? I'm told hot poll question today.
So we have I'll let Paulie share it. He has the wording exactly right. He came up with it.
Okay.
You got a max contract to offer a position player to add to your team, and your team needs everything. Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, the tight end, or Michael Thomas. Kittle and Thomas are 26, McCaffrey's 24. All considered the best or amongst the best at their position, and all young. McCaffrey, George Kittle, Michael Thomas.
And we're starting my team.
I
don't know who my quarterback is.
You have a great quarterback.
I have a great quarterback. Who's my quarterback? Is Dak Prescott?
You have Deshaun Watson.
You got to get Dak Prescott into the Paulie, this is about clicks.
How about make it Jimmy Garoppolo? He's right in the middle.
It's interesting.
Well, then I would take George Kittle because I have to take pressure off Jimmy Garoppolo. And Kittle's a great blocker and obviously him and Kelsey, probably the two best tight ends in football. I'd probably go Kittle because I think he can give you blocking and also he can beat you deep too. I mean, he's a great player. So I would probably say Kittle. Yes, McLevin.
Is Kittle like the number one guy now? Is it Kelsey, Kittle? Gronk's
I
coming
think
back.
Kittle got a lot more publicity last year because people got to see his personality. And then you go to the Super Bowl and you get that notoriety. Kelsey, of course, rode that wave too, getting a lot of publicity. But on that offense with San Francisco, we didn't talk about too many, Raheem Mostert, we only talked about him in the Super Bowl. We talked a lot more about Garoppolo. But then Kittle emerged as the guy that they talk about with that offense there. McCaffrey.
He just turned 24.
Yeah, I know. I know.
How is that possible? How can he only be 24? He's been around for a decade.
Feels like that. I think the first time we talked to him, he was a sophomore in college. Michael Thomas. I remember Michael Thomas when he was at Ohio State. And I thought, I look at the Ohio State wide receivers and I always think, boy, he'll be great next level. But they're interchangeable. Although Thomas is not a speed guy. He's maybe Larry Fitzgerald, Chris Carter type, where if you throw it, he's going to catch it, obviously. But, I just didn't see that coming. Where you go, that guy's going to have 150 catches one season. You're going to go, I don't know. Is he going to be able to get open? But Thomas is great. I think wide receivers, there's a few wide receivers. There's only a couple of tight ends. Kittle and Kelsey, and maybe I'm missing somebody here. McCaffrey, to be able to run for 1,000 and receive for at least 1,000, that's really, really, really rare. Now, can you continue to do it? And it's going to be for a team that's going to be average, whereas Kittle has been playing for a playoff team, and so is Michael Thomas. But that's an interesting poll question. Lawrence in New York joining us. Hey, Lawrence, what do you have for me today?
Hi, first-time caller. Love the show.
Thank you.
So, you guys were talking running backs.
Yeah.
I forgive you guys. Everybody always sleeps on Pitt. They've been an NFL factory of Hall of Famers probably for the last 35, 40 years. But I would definitely make the case for them being running back U. Dorsett, Curtis Martin, Craig Hayward, Shady McCoy, Deion Lewis. A few of those guys are going to the Hall of Fame. So just wanted to.
All right, that's good. Thank you, Lawrence. We don't know it all. We don't even act like we know it all.
Put Pitt football running backs on the roster today. I'm in.
Since 2015, schools with most running backs drafted since 2015. You guys want to guess? Alabama, 7. Miami, 5. Georgia, 5. LSU, 4. Oklahoma, 4. Florida, 4. Since 2015, Georgia running backs, DeAndre Swift, Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, Keith Marshall, and Todd Gurley. It's a good group. But, previous caller talking about Pitt, Tony Dorsett, Hall of Famer. Curtis Martin is second or third on the all-time list. He's a Hall of Famer. Craig Ironhead Hayward was a really good running back. James Conner, Pitt. Yeah, the positions change, though, and what Hall of Fame numbers are going to be. And I don't envy these Hall of Fame voters. In 10 years from now, how you assess a Hall of Fame running back. Adrian Peterson is kind of the dinosaur. I don't know if we're going to have somebody who played that way and the number of, yards that they put up, that he might be the last guy because everybody else, it feels like we're going to be saying, how many receptions did you have? Yeah, McLevin.
I mean, Elliott and McCaffrey seem like they're on that trajectory, don't they? I mean,
I would never do trajectory with running backs.
Yeah.
That's dangerous. All of a sudden, these guys just fall off the cliff.
Right, Le'Veon Bell was on that trajectory.
Oh, yeah. He was reinventing the position with that kind of slide, and then he would just dart. He'd find the hole. He'd slide and dart. And when's the last time you brought up Le'Veon Bell's name as one of the great running backs? Yeah, Paul.
Now people are sending in college running back tandems. Reggie Bush and Lindale White at USC. Lindale didn't have a great pro career, but he was very tough in college.
Well, he went to Tennessee. He played for the Titans, but he was a power back. I mean, that was a pro team. The USC's team was great because Leinart didn't turn out to be a good pro, and Lindale White, he might have had one or two decent years there. I thought Reggie Bush had a good NFL career. Not as good based off what he did at USC. But I still think, did he rush for 1,000 yards?
I think maybe twice.
Or twice, something like that. But you're taking that high, and he wasn't a between the tackles guy. And, we just saw him at USC where everybody looked elusive. Everybody looked great. Everybody looked like a first-team All-American. Yeah, Paul.
I always thought that Reggie Bush was used incorrectly. I think they looked at him
in
as
the pros?
Yes, in the pros. They bought into that he can't run between the tackles thing because he's too small when he could. And they're not doing that with Christian McCaffrey. They are giving the ball enough times inside the tackle, saying, let's just see what happens. And Reggie Bush, his first few years in the league, he would average about 140 carries, and that's not enough.
But he
caught the ball a ton.
Yeah, I know. And that I understood how they were using him that way. But I don't know if it was a fair criticism they couldn't run between the tackles. But if you had Lindale White, then you didn't use Reggie Bush to run between the tackles or have to. Yeah, McLevin.
They had another running back. I'm blanking on his name.
He was mixed in with that Deuce
McAllister,
McAllister, Deuce McAllister era, early Pierre Thomas era, which I know you loved.
I did love Pierre Thomas.
Yes.
My fantasy team. I had Deuce McAllister and Pierre Thomas on my fantasy teams. Deuce McAllister was one of my favorites with the Saints.
Great running back names.
Yes. For 50, Alex. Yep. And the answer is Deuce McAllister.
Yes. I know it's not a poll, but do you want the power between the tackles guy, or do you want the Austin Eckler can do everything guy? He's the hot Pro Football Focus guy now.
Well, can I have both?
Yeah, I think you've convinced everyone that you need two guys now.
But it just seems like that way I always have a fresh running back in there.
Kind of like me and Ethan. Like you need two of us.
Nah.
Yeah. Ethan's a Derrick Henry. I'm more of a, I don't know.
An Austin Eckler?
Austin, I'm more like a, I'm trying to make, Austin Eckler might be shooting too high.
Yeah, Austin Eckler is, they let Melvin Gordon go.
You're more of a Peyton Hillis type, McLevin.
Oh, remember Peyton Hillis? He had like 2 seasons. Wasn't he Arkansas running back? Wasn't he on the cover of Madden?
Yeah, how many people said no before they got to Peyton Hillis?
I don't know.
I think I got one. Jordan Howard. I'm the Jordan Howard. Remember the Bears running back? Like in the right spot, I can do okay. Not super fast.
All right, we'll take a break. More phone calls coming up, and we'll check in with the NBA bubble. Chris Haynes, our favorite from Yahoo Sports. He'll join us. And LSU head coach, Coach O, will join us in the final hour. But play of the day's up next, and phone calls after this on the Dan Patrick Show.
Gents, today is National Private Chef Day, Personal Chef Day. Now, Kevin Durant has had his own personal chef for years.
Fun.
Brought him to...
Look, he makes his smoothies for him.
Oh, Mr. Smoothie.
Didn't put any weight on him, but got his own personal chef.
Think if he didn't have that guy, how skinny he'd be. Okay, here's the thing. You get to choose one. You could either have your own personal chef, like Anthony Bourdain would have been great for me.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
He's off the board, though.
Right, completely off the board. Or your own private jet. Now, here's the thing. You still have the life that you have now. You have to go to work. You still have everything that you have now. But you have your own personal chef 24 hours a day on call, or your own private jet 24 hours a day on call. But your life is still the same, and your schedule is still the same. I'm going to start with Connor, because he did that little thing.
Now, see, for me, immediately I say the plane, right. Because my wife does 99.9% of the cooking. So she might actually prefer to have the chef. But she likes to travel.
This is your call.
I'm going with the plane. Sorry, babe.
Fritzy?
I got to go with the plane, even though I could probably use someone to cook some nice, healthy meals.
Well, you
for
do
me.
have somebody.
Well, you do have your personal chef.
Yeah, but she would be the first one to admit that's a far cry from a chef category.
So you're complaining about your wife's cooking?
No, I'm saying she does what she can compared to me.
She does what she can?
She does what she can with her limited skills in the kitchen. She'd be the first one to admit she's no chef.
Wow.
But she would enjoy being able to, at a moment's notice, flying around the world. So
you may need a personal chef after this one.
You might need a plane to get the hell out of here, too.
I'll grab a
one-way ticket somewhere.
I'll grab my quarter pounder
to
and
Flavor Town. McLovin?
I'll take my quarter pounder to the private plane.
Oh, definitely the jet, which I would probably never use, ironically.
Right.
But not having to do security at the airport.
Yeah.
And,
It's like
a couple
worth its
times
weight.
you've snuck us onto a private jet has been deluxe.
Plus, you could like rent it out and stuff like that. I mean, that's like a whole source of
No,
income
I'm not
too. That's a
renting out
side.
my
Oh,
private jet.
take it. Take it.
But yeah. By the way, Anthony Bourdain would literally be the worst private chef in the world. Right. It's like, where's the private chef? Oh, he's out, with
He's in
Iggy
Uruguay.
Pop.
He's in
Yeah.
Himalayas.
Oh, he's at another book tour. Sorry.
8 minutes he's
Can't.
actually there would be the most interesting 8 minutes of your life, but he'd be like, yeah.
I'm
He'd be
going-
on the private jet.
Man, you know me. I would love shrimp and grits on call 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
I got to go jet.
Wow.
I
Really?
know, it's a
Wow,
shocker.
That is a shocker.
Yeah. Shocker. Imagine like, hey, hon, let's go to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. Where do you feel like going today?
Just for the weekend.
Yeah, just like a getaway to Italy
Oh.
for overnight trip.
Be amazing.
Good topic.
Yeah, when I'm not using the jet, I'm renting it out, and then I'm using that money to get a private chef.
Ah, see.
What do you remember from your SNL audition?
What do I? Well, there were two of them. There was the initial one, and then they had a callback. The first one was, if you've ever been in Studio 8H, there's a lobby part before you walk in through the double doors to go into the studio, and there's, all those photos of all the past hosts, all the past cast. So you're hanging out in that lobby, listening to the person auditioning before you, trying to collect your thoughts before you go on.
Who was on before you? You remember?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Because in that, I think they auditioned something like 50 to 75 people. It was a huge nationwide search that year because they were losing so many people off that cast. And
what was your go-to, though, that you knew if this went well, I'm good, and if it doesn't go well, I got no shot?
The goat, I thought there was a character I'd done at the Groundlings, which is the sketch comedy troupe here in Los Angeles, that I had done. That I thought if this kind of works, I might have a fighting chance. And it ended up being the first sketch of the first show I got to do, and it was this guy that we called the Get Off the Shed guy, who was just having a benign family barbecue and just, having small talk, about his golf game. And then for no reason would yell off camera to his kids to get off the shed. So, yeah, and that was the only move in the sketch was that it'd be like, you talked to Chuck Henderson yesterday? I understand he threw his back out. Yeah, well, I told him not to, lift heavy equipment without a dolly. Hey, get off the shed! Anyway, I got a new Dodge Caravan, and I love the way it drives. It's a real front-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive is just, you got great handling. And I told you for the last time, get off the shed! And are you gonna go to the Christmas party this year or not? Because we missed you last year. Anyway, so and my yelling and chastising of the off-screen children got more elaborate, and it was like, I will take my belt off and beat you,
This is the play of the day.
Check this out.
It is all Chase Elliott off turn number 4. Checkered flag is out. Crowd on their feet, and $1 million payday for Chase Elliott. as he wins the 2020 NASCAR All-Star event here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
That's your play of the day, courtesy of Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. This is kind of a sneaky story, maybe not a headline story, but there were 20,000 fans at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Now, it typically holds 140,000. Only 30,000 tickets were offered to allow social distancing. You had 20,000 fans on hand, and if you start to look at the spacing, you had to wear your mask when you went in, but you could take your mask when you got into the speedway. But let's say you want to have 25, 30, 40,000 at a football stadium that holds 100,000. Are you able to pull that off? So just something to keep an eye on. But that was Bristol Motor Speedway last night in front of the estimated 20,000 fans. Play of the day brought to you by LegalZoom. We're facing new challenges these days, and if you need legal help, count on LegalZoom. You can start online. They have a network of independent attorneys. They provide advice when you need it. And since LegalZoom isn't a law firm, you don't have to leave your home. Don't get billed by the hour. LegalZoom.com for more information today. A couple of phone calls in here. Phil in Indiana. Hey, Phil, what do you have for me today?
Hey, good morning, Dan. Always great to be with you. I'm missing something on the Dak Prescott discussion. I don't even think he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. He wants to be paid like he's in the top 3. I don't know why people should be surprised that the Cowboys are skeptical. In one of the biggest games of his season last year, Dan, against the Eagles, he had one of the most awful performances against a very mediocre Philadelphia team where they could have clinched the division. I'm just missing something on this, Dan.
Well, here's the thing, Phil, and thanks for the phone call. And I've been saying this. Each quarterback who's up next doesn't have to make more than the guy who preceded him. But that's the flow. That's the trend. You need to have a mid-level where you just say, this is how good we think you are. Now, the agent doesn't want to be that guy, or he won't be your agent any longer. Dak Prescott, he's not going to be the highest paid quarterback because that's Patrick Mahomes. But did he overplay his hand? I thought for a couple of reasons. You didn't win your division. You were really good and really bad at times. Your team was 8-8. And I don't care if you threw for almost 5,000 yards because the top 5 quarterbacks in passing yards last year did not make the playoffs. I need to know what – you can't lose to Buffalo at home. You can't. And it's not all on him. But look, quarterback, we ride with you when you're doing well. You get credit when you win, more credit when you win a big game in a Super Bowl, and you're going to get blamed. That goes along with the territory. But if you're going to say, hey, you're going to make this amount of money, and it's going to be commensurate with some of these other quarterbacks, is Dak better than Carson Wentz? And the answer is no. Is he better than Jared Goff? Close. Probably. He's not better than Russell Wilson. Why is he getting paid more than Russell Wilson? Well, he's the next guy up. It's such a flaw. I mean, I give the agents credit. It's like, yeah, the next guy up, like Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's going to want $40 million a year. Is he worth it? I would say no. But if that's the going price, I mean, look back on some of these contracts. And you go, at the time, we were like, can you believe they're paying this guy that amount of money? It was the going rate. And now you look back and you go, wow, they got kind of a bargain there. If Jerry Jones really wanted Dak Prescott as his quarterback, he should have signed him last year before the start of the season when I was told that he was going. Maybe I sound angry because I was told he was going to sign him and he didn't.
You're standing by that report.
And that's why I'm mad. Oh, no, I believe that they were going to sign him. And for whatever reason, they decided not to. And if they could have signed him for Russell Wilson money. And then you get a bargain there. You're not getting a bargain now. And maybe you tag him one more year. All right. I assume they're all in on Dak Prescott. They just want him at a certain number. We'll head to the NBA bubble coming up next here. Seton Pauly, Fritzy McLovin, and Ethan on the Dan Patrick Show. would you know, the offensive lineman, and I go back to the coldest game ever played when the Bengals played the Chargers in the playoffs.
Yes.
And those offensive linemen came out and they had no sleeves. And I went, wow, did you send a message to the Chargers? Does that still work in the NFL?
I love it. I never wore sleeves, Dan. The best story about no sleeves is when I was playing. We played Cincinnati, ironically, up there, and it was like minus 13 wind chill. And I remember going on the field pregame with no sleeves, and it hurt. It was painful. I think it was like me and a couple offensive linemen and Keenan Marcardell, the wide receiver, never wore sleeves. And it's miserable. I mean, it's so uncomfortable. You're sitting there, you're cold the whole time. You're not even thinking about the game, you're cold. So we walk in, and I'm actually, for the first time in my career, considering putting sleeves on before the game. And I look over, Keenan's putting his sleeves on. I'm like, maybe I should do it. And I'm sitting there thinking about it, and Tom Coughlin walks up to me. And he goes, hey, you need to put some sleeves on. It's going to be cold out there. It's dangerous. At that moment, I looked at him and said, there is no bleeping way I'm putting some sleeves on. If you're going to tell me to do it, I'm not doing it. So I got a bunch of Vaseline and put Vaseline all over my body and walked out there with no sleeves. And it wasn't very smart because I don't think it intimidated anybody. I don't think it made anyone think he's like scary. Like, we don't want to play him now because he has no sleeves. I think they looked at me and said, he's an idiot. He has no sleeves on, and he's colder than we are, so we're better off. So, but it's something mentally. I never wore them. I don't think I ever would. And I have no idea how I handled it because now I'll go up living in Florida. I'll go up to New England, and I will be cold the entire time.
Okay.
And complain the entire time about being cold.
But that brings up an important point that we always look at that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers could never win a game when the temperature was under 40 degrees or something. They were famous for not being able to. Yep. Here are the Chargers coming east, and how do you prepare for that weather if you're the Chargers where it's not going to have a real effect on your game plan?
Yeah, well, you can't prepare for it because practice-wise, you're not going to be able to, replicate the situation. Now, the other thing is that I'm a firm believer in is a lot of the reasons Tampa never won under 40 is because they weren't very good either. Like good teams, like everyone says, it's hard to win on the road. Not if you're good. Like if you're good, you win on the road. The Chargers are 9-0 outside of Los Angeles County this year. They're a good football team. They're 12-4. I don't think they're going to walk. They're not going to walk into Foxborough and Gillette Stadium and go, "Oh my gosh, we're on the road. It's cold." I mean, this is a veteran group. They're a good football team. I mean, they're not going to go find a way in Los Angeles to make it 30 degrees this week practice. But I don't think that matters. When you have veteran guys who are mentally tough, and this group's a mentally tough team, Dan, I don't think it has anything to do with the game at all.
Cookie, come here, girl. Come here. Oh, you've got to stretch first. Come on. Come on. Come on, sit. Good girl. There you go. And that's pretty much our relationship right there. Okay, Penny. See you tomorrow. Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, home to award-winning host Dan Patrick. Also home to Paulie, Seton, Fritz, and our new best friend, Ethan. Oh, and also McLovin. But back to Ethan.
I love that guy.
Ethan is an Ivy League grad of the highest pedigree.
The Ivy League school.
He went to Harvard?
He went to Harvard.
A man who contributes interesting stats and factoids for all of our entertainment.
And he's really good at what he does.
I heard he's 6'6".
Really on the fast track right now.
Bench pressed 230 pounds.
And he's from Philadelphia.
Pretty soon, people will be saying, Pearl who?
I'm Ethan Cooperson Light.
Yes.
From the Mercedes Man Cave, here's the original pre-Ethan crew.
It's going to change.
Of the Dan Patrick Show.
Hour 2 on this Thursday, we'll check in with Chris Haynes, who covers the NBA. We'll check in inside the bubble. He'll join us coming up. LSU head coach Ed Orgeron will join us coming up in the final hour of the program. Talked a lot about Dak Prescott and Derrick Henry during the first hour of the program. Ezekiel Elliott is clapping back at Twitter haters here. McLevin, are you involved in this?
I don't think so, but I want in.
Okay.
What's he saying?
Check the stats. Since I entered this league, I have dominated year in and year out. Put some respect in capital letters, on my name. And then somebody clapped back and said, bro, you got paid 2 years early and for way too much. How you need more respect than $90 million. Here's another one. Bro, no lie, I'm a huge fan, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed in your performance the last 2 years. I don't see the hunger. That happens with running backs. When they get paid, you start to run a little more tentatively.
Hunger has never been the question mark with Ezekiel Elliott.
Wow.
No offense.
Wow, that's a shock.
That's easy.
Low-hanging fruit.
Big fan.
Which is something you should probably have more of. What?
Oh, hey.
Can you show me the numbers with Zeke Elliott here, McLevin, the last 2 years? I just don't think we mention him. I don't think he has those plays that he had when he first got in the league, those incredible plays. Remember, it was Zeke's team. Like, they were a running team. And then they were like, we got to take advantage of Zeke with play-action pass, and this will help Dak Prescott be able to throw the ball downfield. I had a scout tell me that defenses still want to see if he can throw the ball down the field. This is the knock on Dak Prescott. And then
his numbers are big still. He led the league in rushing 2 years ago, 1434, and had 1357 last year.
Okay.
But I wonder how impactful they were.
That's where I keep coming back to that. Do you think that they're a running team? When they needed a big play, did they get that from Zeke Elliott? I mean, there's still, if Zeke's great and the offensive line is Hall of Fame worthy, and you got Dak, who wants to be the highest paid or second highest paid player in the game, and you're 8-8. I can put a lot of this on Jason Garrett. I still think that Jerry Jones's biggest regret, and he'll never mention it publicly, is he stayed with Jason Garrett too long and blew too many opportunities to maybe make a run and get a coach that was going to make this team better. Because I don't know if he brought out the best in his players on a consistent basis. I always thought Jason was more of an assistant coach. And that's what you have now with the New York Giants. He's an assistant coach there. And maybe Mike McCarthy is going to be an upgrade there. I don't know if the offense changes. I don't know if it's more on Dak Prescott's shoulders. Are they more of a running team with Zeke Elliott? But I don't want to pay my running back early. I don't want to pay him often. And Dallas did that. And I think that that'll turn out to be a bad deal for them. Yeah, Paul.
Zeke Elliott's got a point, and he is the fourth all-time in rushing yards per game career. He's averaging 97 yards a game rushing in his career. That's just behind Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, and Terrell Davis. Now, the caveat there is that a lot of running backs start hot, and their first 4 years are always their best, or almost always their best. But he's ahead of Eric Dickerson, Walter Payton, Adrian Peterson.
Okay, but if I said you can have Zeke Elliott or Christian McCaffrey, who do you want?
Completely healthy?
No, yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, I'd take Christian McCaffrey in a second. right now?
It is splitting hairs, but Ezekiel Elliott takes 5-yard runs and makes them 8. And now I know he's a great pass catcher.
Derrick Henry or Zeke Elliott?
Zeke, when healthy.
Yeah, but I don't know what healthy means now.
Oh, I guess I'm using it as that with all running backs, assuming healthy.
Well,
he's been pretty healthy.
But I don't know. He's not the same running back he was when he got in the league.
His first year, he averaged 109 yards per game.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
He's got one of the best offensive lines in the game. Christian McCaffrey does not have that. Derrick Henry, I think, made that offensive line look a little bit better. By all accounts, Zeke Elliott has one of the top 3 lines. He's got, what, maybe 2 Hall of Famers on that line? Like Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, those are Hall of Famers. So he's got a head start over all these other running backs. Yes, McLevin.
He's got a lot of wear already in his NFL career, though.
Well, plus go back to college, too. I mean, you have to factor in the wear and tear on a running back, and I have to go back to college as well. Derrick Henry didn't have wear and tear at Alabama. Christian McCaffrey did have wear and tear at Stanford. And it eventually catches up to you. I go back to, remember James Wilder with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah.
He had, I think, one season, maybe 2, 450 carries, something crazy like that. But that's all the Buccaneers had. But 400 plus carries. Yeah, McLevin.
You know who seems like an exception? You mentioned earlier, Adrian Peterson. He's the only running back where it never mattered what he did.
And if he had stayed healthy and, the suspension, he would be knocking on the door of Emmitt Smith for the all-time. And I don't know if anybody's ever going to get close to that again. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel like, we've devalued the running back. We don't give you the same touches because football used to be predicated on running the ball, controlling the clock. You take a couple of shots down the field and you have a good defense. That's it. It was almost a conservative approach. And unless we go back to that, the running back, if you get to 10,000 yards, it's going to be like, man, you had a great career. But that's the way it used to be. You got to 10,000 yards. Like Jim Taylor of the Green Bay Packers. Now, granted, they won Super Bowls. He wasn't a great running back, but for that team and that offense, he was what they needed. I still think Ricky Watters was one of the great players that just got lost. Great pass catcher. And he got overshadowed because it felt like he was Marshall Faulk before Marshall Faulk. And then you started to see some of these numbers. And LaDainian Tomlinson comes along. You're like, uh-oh, everybody's in trouble here. All right, welcome to the program. Already in progress, as you can tell. 877-3DP-SHOW. Email address dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle at DP Show. Say good morning to our radio partners, TV partners, watching on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. We're still waiting for this Washington Post story that's supposed to be a big deal. Nobody's confirmed anything. We've reached out. We reached out to the sports editors at the Washington Post and just said, look, off the record, can you tell us when the story is going to come out? And we didn't even get a response on it. Everybody's tight-lipped about this, but it feels like there's something to do with the toxic culture, work environment with the Washington Redskins. I'm guessing the article expose is probably complete. Now the lawyers are looking over this. That would be my guess. And I don't know if it involves Daniel Snyder. You got 2 employees fired Sunday, and then their longtime broadcaster, Larry Michael, just resigned. Something's happening here. It's not just a name change. And that's where I wondered, with skepticism, that maybe the name change just happened to come about at the same time you had a story that was going to explode. Ross Tucker, our friend, former NFL lineman, said this is like the movie that everybody keeps saying, you got to go see it, you got to go see it, you got to go see it. And then you go see it, and you go, well, it didn't live up to what the hype was. I'm hopeful that this story doesn't live up to the hype because look, I've been told enough that, boy, this could be an explosion. This could be something that is pretty bad for a couple of people. that were in the organization. But, there's no names that I'm going to attach, and I'm not even going to mention, what anybody's job was in there. But you just start to hear a little bit, but we don't have that story. And maybe the Washington Post drops that story by the end of the week. But by all accounts, it's pretty explosive. All right, some phone calls here. What are we going to stay with that poll question for the first hour?
Yeah, we have. If you could start an offense, one of these players. I know. We'll stick with it. We'll come up with something better.
All right, what are the results?
Okay, so you have a choice between Kittle, Michael Thomas, and Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey actually runs away with it. No pun intended.
Okay.
That might be he's the most famous of those three.
Yeah. Now, I said I would probably start my team with Kittle.
I'm with you because he's the best tight end, where Michael Thomas is one of the top 10 receivers, 5 receivers.
But is McCaffrey the best running back?
You've convinced me that all these guys are good now. There's so many outstanding ones.
I mean, Zeke Elliott is putting up great numbers, but they don't compare to what he did when he first got in the league. Therefore, I probably diminish his value a little bit. Derrick Henry, extremely valuable. But Alvin Kamara didn't have a great year last year. It just feels like there's another running back, then another running back, another running back. This guy came out of nowhere, 3rd-round draft pick. This guy, 5th-round draft pick. It just feels like at that position you're able to find running backs, right? Like Raheem Mostert could have been the Super Bowl MVP had they won. Where'd he come from? Off a surfboard. I mean, he was a wide receiver at Purdue and became a running back. Yeah, McLevin.
If, God forbid, there was no NFL season, does that mean that we'd spend all next year talking about Dak Prescott's new contract again? It'd just be the never-ending Dak Prescott contract?
I try to talk about the things that I think are pertinent. I don't do clickbait. I'm in the minority here, and I don't begrudge others that do it. I think the transparency is if you can mention LeBron or the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, then you're going to do that every single day. Skip and Shannon do that every single day. I don't begrudge them. That's the program they're doing. And I'm not here to help somebody program their show. It's just there's other things to talk about instead of saying, how do I work Dak Prescott into the show? Dak Prescott deserves to be in the show today. And as we head into this regular season, and he's going to be a storyline the entire year because we're going to look and say, he bet on himself again. Was it worth it? Are the Cowboys going to go, you know what? We're going to franchise you next year. And that's what my thought process was. Sign him and get him at a bargain if you did it last year. If you really want him, then give him his 4-year, $140 million deal like the Seahawks gave Russell Wilson. Then you got a bargain. Then you can use that money elsewhere. Now you're going to be saddled with paying your quarterback $40 million on an offense that you paid everybody and a couple of defensive players that you paid. The salary cap's going to go down, maybe $20 to $30 million due to the pandemic. Jerry Jones, smart man, but I think you could have had him at a bargain. But back then, it always, when somebody says, you could have bought that house 15 years ago for this. Well, I didn't have the money back then. But like people always say, you could have bought that brownstone in New York for $100,000 back in 1975. Where were you in 1975 to tell me about that? It's after the fact, you could have got that car. Could have got that car a couple of years ago for a bargain. $20,000 less. Yeah, Paul.
Have you guys ever had one of those where something you passed on and you're like, oh, and it still is in your gut, like a buying a car, buying a house, investment opportunity?
Yeah.
Moving on?
Yep, moving on here. Moving on. Dan in Chicago joins us. Hi, Dan. What do you have for me today?
Hey, DP. Just wanted to get your opinion on, how much blame are we putting on the Vikings contract with Kirk Cousins for essentially inflating the rate of all these growing quarterbacks? My opinion is that, his mediocrity essentially set this extraordinary standard for these huge amounts of money. Now you got your Jimmy G's, your Daks, your Tannehills, your Carrs, who are serviceable quarterbacks, but they're in a pay band that's a lot more than what they can really chew.
I know, and this is what happened because when I came in that Monday and I said, Kirk D. Cousins is going to get all of it guaranteed. This had never happened. And I came in because I had a source who said, hey, he's getting it all guaranteed. And I said, why? It's a shorter contract and it's all guaranteed. $66 million. And then all of a sudden, all these agents, ding, 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 and their clients go, hey, we want it all guaranteed. And that's what's happening. Until they hit the reset button with these quarterback salaries, it's going to get out of hand with crazy numbers for guys who aren't worth it. The NBA is going through this. There are guys who are making over $40 million. And you go, huh? Like John Wall. John Wall, a nice player. If he was playing out in the field house, I might wait a while before I went out to watch him shoot. But he's going to make 42 and then I think 46 or $48 million. And how many guys in the NBA would you go watch, turn on the TV, or watch an entire game? Is there like 4, 5, maybe? Now, if I said teams, that's a little bit different. But, the healthy Warriors, Lakers, you're not going to sit and watch an entire Bucks game. Don't even try to tell me anybody. Don't.
Are you saying we haven't or won't?
You haven't and you won't.
All right.
If they get to the NBA Finals, you might. But, I'll watch the Greek Freak. He's a wonderful player. LeBron, Harden, Westbrook.
Don't forget the big one, the big ticket, the NBA superstar, Zion Williamson. I mean, he's.
Oh, yeah.
They think he's the number one draw.
Well, he might be. He might be. If I said you could have Zion or Luka. See, Luka's going to be an MVP.
Right.
I don't think Zion's going to be an MVP.
But the excitement factor is Luka's
I
steady.
know.
Yeah.
But that's if you said to a TV executive, if they were going to be honest, we can show you more Luka games or more Pelicans games. I don't even think it's a contest. I think it's Pelicans. And Luka is a better player than Zion, at least right now. Yeah, Paul.
But Zion's numbers are actually, he's overachieving on the court. In only 19 games, he averaged 23.5 points. He shot pretty well, even from three. He didn't shoot a lot of threes, but he shot 46%. He's 19.
I know. Well, but Luka's 21.
Right. But
he's so much older than Zion. He plays older than Zion. But Zion, he said, hey, I went back to the basics. I worked on my basics there. He'll never have the shot of Luka and the ball handling of Luka. But as far as a draw to get people to come out, young fans, they're coming out to see Zion. Yeah, McLevin.
There's a lot of Instagram video of Luka and Porzingis and Seth Curry just draining 45-foot jumpers. Are you in on them? Are you getting excited? Is that why you bring up Luka?
I'm excited about Dallas in the bubble. But Porzingis is the key. If he can be dominating or anywhere near what he once was, then Dallas is tricky. It's a tricky matchup. That's the highest scoring team right there. All right, we'll take a break. I will get to your phone calls, but I want to make way for Chris Haynes. He will join us inside the bubble. Well, he didn't have anything to do, right? He's stuck in his room. He can't go anywhere, right? Yes.
He's been there for 2 weeks already.
Wait, he got there early?
He's been there 2 weeks.
Who gets there early?
I think I saw him poolside the other day on TV. He might be post-quarantine. He might be on the Lido deck.
Was he out there with the DJ with Dwight Howard?
That's what I'm hearing.
Just those two guys?
He was the DJ.
All right, we'll take a break. Let's see. 19 after the hour, head into the bubble. Right after this in the Dan Patrick Show. Big reveal. Is everybody ready for this?
Yes.
I'm going to need some assistance. Maybe you could take it out of the container.
Oh, dear.
Oh.
Oh, you got us some awesome box.
What's going on in there?
I know what's going on.
Hey, suck at Mario.
This is cool.
Would have been cooler if he just came out.
Whoa!
Carson Palmer said he was sending
Careful.
the Heisman. Uh-oh.
Do not
This
break
is
it.
classic. Classic
Do
TV
we have
show.
to leave it? Maybe we should just
See that? There's like a strap right there.
It needs to be intact.
Is that a
It's heavy.
classic?
There it is.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Carson Palmer sent that to us.
Man of his word.
There's a little dust on there.
Wow.
How heavy, Mario?
Yeah.
Let's see how long you can hold it.
Isn't it fascinating? His Heisman trophy is all dusty.
I know.
What? You don't have like
It's-
some cleaning
it's-
people to?
It's all scraped up.
What happened?
Looks like he's had some fun with that.
Look at.
I would have
Yeah,
kept
it
that like
wasn't
in case
me.
of glass.
First, like, I didn't do it.
Yeah, that's
A little schmutzy there.
wow. So I don't know where to put it.
So
Maybe we
awesome.
should put it on the bar.
Why don't we have a holding contest?
No.
And how often did Carson Palmer pose like that?
Because what happens when you go, I can't hold it anymore, and then you drop it?
You're right.
Let me see if the fingers are okay. Yeah, fingers are good.
I was touch and go pulling it out of that box for a second.
That's the real deal.
Like, where did he have this?
It's like in some attic with like spider webs.
No wonder he didn't mind sending it. His wife probably said, can you get that thing out of the house?
It's like he
You should
forgot
start
all about
pressuring
that he
the other
had it.
Heisman winners to start sending theirs
Ooh.
in now. Like, precedent's been set.
Look, it's all banged up. I'd say it's game used, but
There was like a rocking chair, snow shovels, and that was like somewhere in the periphery.
got a great surprise in the mail. I just showed it. If you're watching on Audience Channel 239 DirecTV and also brlive.com, the former USC quarterback Carson Palmer. Apparently a really good friend of the show. He sent us his Heisman trophy. I was just joking. I said, what are you doing with your Heisman? He's like, nothing. I said, where is it? And he's like, I got it somewhere. I said, how about you send it to us? And so he said, yeah, give me your FedEx number and I'm going to send it to you. And it's it comes in one of those big, hard cases there. And that Heisman, what is it, 45, 46 pounds? All dusty. It's all banged up. And Carson Palmer, man of his word, sent us his Heisman trophy. I don't know where he kept it. Like, did he keep it outside or something? I think he said he kept it in the garage. It's like the famous statue, Rodin, the thinking man. That's outside. When you go to France, you'll go, where's the thinking man? Where's Rodin? They go, oh, it's right outside. He's out in a courtyard there. Yes, Todd.
Wouldn't you like encase that with glass on a shelf with one of those lights that shines on it? I'd kind of make a big deal about that.
I am, and it's not even mine. And I'm going to make a big deal out of that Heisman. First thing I checked is there's so much dust on it. First thing I checked were the fingers. I just want to make sure that nothing was broken. Remember Eddie George? He put his through a metal detector when he won it, and they broke the finger when it went through the metal detector. So I wanted to make sure that, nothing happened to it in transit. But got the Heisman here, and we've added it to, another addition to this great man cave. I assume he thinks he's getting it back, right?
That's a perfect line.
So we started this popular segment, Will This Be the Day Weeks Gets Fired? And Weeks is our great cameraman,
How do we
but
play?
I wanted to ratchet up the stakes here with,
Well, he's our cameraman.
my Callaway.
So if this ball goes in, what happens?
Well, Weeks gets fired.
Okay. So that's the game?
Yeah. But it's only during this segment.
Is that effective
So
immediately?
if you get a hole in one, does Weeks have to put the camera down and walk off?
No, he's got to stay.
Oh!
Come back a little bit.
My God!
Get back here.
I hit the pin.
That's a little drive-by.
Take a little sauce off it.
No, because people said, oh, you're just hitting the ball. There's nothing attached to this. And I went,
he doesn't get to come in for Meat Friday? Give him one more day.
Pretty dialed, though.
man, I'm too amped up to fire Weeks.
Deep breath. Johnny Miller.
Johnny Miller. That's a little short.
You get that roll up, though.
I know. I got to get
10 seconds.
pressure. I got 10 seconds to fire Weeks. All right, phone calls coming up. We'll check in with LSU head football coach Ed Orgeron. He'll join us coming up a little bit later on. He's one of our favorites. He works for Yahoo Sports, also NBA on TNT sideline reporter, and a host of Posted Up with Chris Haynes podcast. He is Chris Haynes, who joins us now. Last time we talked, you said you were going to be in a scrub hotel in the bubble. Looks like you're in a nice hotel there, Chris.
I'm showing you the better side, the better half of the hotel room, DP.
Well, wait, what's on the other side?
2 beds. That's about it.
How many sneakers did you bring?
It's about 1, 2, 3. I got about 8 pair. Then about 2 dress shoes.
Are you allowed to walk around? You're out of quarantine. You don't have to stay in your hotel room.
Yeah, I'm allowed to walk around. I got here on July 1st, and so I've been here for a few weeks already.
Do you go and knock on the doors of other NBA reporters and then run away because you're allowed to be outside and they can't be?
You act like you've seen video of something like that occurring.
Have you done that before?
You know what? I'm gonna plead the fifth.
Okay, all right.
I'll just say I won't be doing that again.
How would you describe the scene there for those of us who won't be able to be in the bubble?
Well, currently, right now, I'm at the Coronado Spring Resort on Walt Disney World campus, and on this campus, on this property, this also houses the top teams in the NBA by standings. You got the Lakers here, Clippers are here, Toronto Raptors, Utah Jazz, Denver Nuggets. I believe I'm missing some Boston Celtics. They're here. And so as of right now, we kind of share the same amenities, the same facilities. I'll see guys walking around, taking jogs, guys riding on bicycles, fishing. We have a little river here right in the middle of the campus. So it's a pretty unique scene.
Were you poolside with Dwight Howard when they had the DJ out by the pool and Dwight was the only one out there?
No, DP. I think if I was, I would be escorted off campus.
Oh, wait, you're not allowed to be part of those events?
No.
You can't socialize with the player. Like if you see LeBron.
Yes. No, there's been times where I've seen LeBron and we've spoke and seen numerous players, but we're told not to interact with players outside of availability. But with that being said, they know who I am. They're coming up to me and they're talking and having conversations. So you can't avoid those, but I'm not going out of my way to try to seek contact.
How important is the snitch line for guys to call up and be anonymous? Is it real?
Yeah, it's real. It's real. Last I've heard, what was it, Tuesday? Tuesday, a handful of individuals called in on that hotline, a mixture of staff members and players. And so it's real. Guys are, there's been some violations. Some guys, haven't worn their face masks and things of that nature. Little warnings, but nothing serious as of right now.
Spencer Dinwiddie of the Nets came out and said he used the expression "L.A. work." I didn't know what "L.A. work" meant, Chris. That's the players in the import-export business. Is that how that worked?
Well, I'll just say, DP, there's work everywhere. There's work everywhere. I don't know why he singled out LA work. There's work everywhere.
Yeah. Why just have it exclusive to LA, the import-export business? Yeah. The more successful these teams are, the longer they have to stay in the bubble. I just wonder how long before these guys start going stir crazy.
It's funny. The first day I got here, I bumped into somebody from the Washington Wizards organization. And, I asked me, "How you doing? Everything's good?" So, "Oh yes, we just came here to win, and we just want to be as successful as possible." I said, "Look, man, y'all ain't coming here to win. Man, y'all want to get out of here as soon as possible. What chance do y'all have? Come on, don't sell me like BS."
Who is the favorite now that the Lakers don't have Avery Bradley and Rajon Rondo? Did that affect, you think, the overall favorite to win the title?
I don't think it affected much. Obviously, Avery Bradley is a big part, and Rondo also a big part. They expect to have Rondo back at some point later in the playoffs. But, acquiring J.R. Smith, I know he's not Avery Bradley Doesn't have the skill set of Avery Bradley on the defensive end, but JR's had big moments in this league during big times, and he's also had a blunder, of course. But I think he's a coup for the Lakers. I still have the Lakers clip as the higher echelon teams in the Western Conference.
Okay, and then the East, is it Milwaukee?
Milwaukee's my favorite. I can't dismiss Boston, and I'm going to mention Toronto Raptors because I go on other platforms and not mention them, and I got killed for it. So I'm definitely the Raptors. They're legitimate as well.
The team that I'm fascinated to see, well, there's two teams I'm fascinated to see. I'm fascinated to see the Rockets. I don't know James Harden's availability, his health. We know that Russell Westbrook admitted that he tested positive. But Harden coming back as well. I think the Rockets can be a tough out, just that style of basketball. The other team is the 76ers. It could be either really good or really bad for the 76ers. Where do you stand on the Rockets and the Sixers?
Well, sources did tell me that Harden plans to practice for the first time today here in Orlando. So that's good news for them. But no, I get what you're saying about Houston. I'm not so sold on Philly. I got to see a little bit more. But I will say this. To the way this restart is shaped and structured, it bodes well for a lot of teams that's probably young, got the young legs. A lot of a team like Houston who can go on a hot stretch and just go out and put together wins. But another team as well, DP, that you haven't mentioned, and I will understand why you didn't. They're currently not in the playoff picture as of right now. But the Portland Trailblazers, DP, if they sneak in the playoff picture, I think they can be a tough out, first round out for the Los Angeles Lakers. And if they happen to get past the Lakers, I can see them going the distance.
Well, we had Chris Mannix on, and Mannix, I think, picked the Blazers and the Sixers to go to the finals.
Wow, okay. I wouldn't go that far. But what I'm saying is, if they happen to get into the playoff picture, and they get past Lakers, which is a daunting task, I could see them getting to the finals.
Okay, all right. He's Chris Haynes, Yahoo Sports senior NBA insider, NBA on TNT sideline reporter. Look at you moving up now. You're TV. You're a talking hairdo. You're at the TNT Hotel. Look who's moving on up to the east side.
Well, that's why I'm only showing you the east side of this hotel.
I was told that you have an ironing board and you have your so sources tell me that your Zoom is on an ironing board. Your laptop.
Why you exposed my business, DP?
Hey, all that is just great reporting. That's all that is.
You got good sources.
Yes, I do. We just I just had a question here. If I said you could have Luka or Zion,
I'm going with Luka right now.
Okay, but if you're a TV executive, do you think, and you can decide, do you put on more Mavs games or Pelicans games?
Pelicans games.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. I mean, we look at Zion, who's what, 19, but Luka's what, 21. It's not like he's an old guy here.
He's not. It's just the flash. And look, Luka is flashy, man. He got some pizzazz. Like, he's not this boring, play. I mean, he's not this boring player. But those dunk highlights, man. People love to see Zion get up and down. And we've never seen somebody of his stature really get up the way he does. I think people are kind of polarized by that. So no, definitely, if I'm executive, I probably want more Pelican games on.
What's your biggest question with all of this, aside from safety precautions? And let's just say that we're able to have basketball question. The number one question you have is what?
DP, it's hard to answer that without even mentioning what happens if a player tests positive, a significant player. Those unknowns. Will it even be revealed? Like, what would happen? The protocol, but just straight basketball. You just want to see, like, the Lakers were on a run. They were playing good before this hiatus. Does that continue? How much rust is on some of these guys? I'm gonna be honest with you, DP. You have to remember, a lot of guys weren't playing ball during this time. A lot of guys I spoke to didn't even think the season was going to restart. So what type of condition are they going to be in? And is this period right now that they're utilizing, is it enough to get them into the proper shape before the season get here and even before the postseason gets here. So I always want to see what type of quality of basketball we're going to see.
You also, I thought they were going to have the losers tournament in Chicago or wherever, and is that still happening? The teams that didn't get invited to Orlando, it's not officially called the losers tournament. I just
just like it's not officially called the snitch hotline.
No.
Yeah.
But are they? I heard the Warriors aren't even going to go. They don't even want to participate in this.
So I haven't heard much more on it aside from the fact that there are teams out there who do want to get some type of league started because they don't want those guys not doing anything for 7-8 months at a time. It wouldn't be like that in a traditional structure of the season. So they want to get out there and assess their young guys and get the proper reps in. So I expect something along those lines to occur.
All right, stay safe. Don't bring in any LA work. You got to make sure that you nose to the grindstone here.
No work here.
No,
I don't know anything about that.
Enjoy the situation as best as possible. Can you just walk and open up the door just to get fresh air?
I can now, but during quarantine, you better not step out unless you're going to get tested.
Hold up your best pair of shoes. Like if you're going out and you want to get somebody's attention, which one of your sneakers are you wearing?
I'm rocking the Dames. I'm rocking the Dame 6s.
Okay.
I'm rocking the Dame 6s. And I got to show some love for the other side. I got the Paul Georges. You never could go wrong with the Air Force Ones, DP. Never.
Well, what about those yellow ones behind you?
The yellow ones, I got to find the right outfit. These are the Derrick Roses. These are the Derrick Roses right here. I got to find the right outfit to go with that.
You got to be really good to be able to wear those shoes, man. Really good. It's tough to get something that yellow, that bright.
Yeah.
That's like a highlighter on both feet wearing it out.
Yeah, you got to get the right SpongeBob outfit or something.
Hey, I'm happy for your success. Good luck down there. We'll check in with you. Great to talk to you as always, Chris.
Thank you, DP. Take care.
That's Chris Haynes, Yahoo Sports Senior NBA Insider, NBA on TNT sideline reporter, and his podcast posted up with Chris Haynes. A couple of phone calls in here. Looked like he's doing okay down there. Seemed in good spirits. When we had Joe Varden on, he was on lockdown. When he says he's doing sprints from his bathroom to the door.
Running back and forth between these two walls for 2.5 miles.
I brought one pair of boat shoes.
Yeah, I'm worried about Joe. Yes, McLovin.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do 7 days in one room.
On just the quarantine portion of it?
Yeah, I couldn't step out. I don't think I could do it.
I did that a handful of times a year when we went to L.A.
You never left?
Lots of times I just lock it down.
Really? Well, we have to get up at 4 a.m. Yeah. So I understand.
I don't know. Am I going outside today?
Yeah.
I'll probably just stay here.
Maybe not. Yeah, Paul.
Balcony would be mandatory. Imagine having a room down in Orlando with no balcony and being in there for 7 days.
Let me see. Let me get to Matt in South Carolina. Hi, Matt. What's on your mind today?
Hey, what's up, DP? I need some advice from the gang, and I got a pretty cool stat of the day after the advice. But,
okay.
Getting married on August 15th, so like 30 days from now or something. And we had a nice honeymoon planned to Hawaii. That got canned, obviously. So I need some advice on some maybe local southeast beaches we can drive through that you or some of the Danettes have been to that you would recommend for a last-minute honeymoon plan.
Paulie, you got one?
Yeah, if you go down to South Carolina, there's a beach down there called Folly Beach. It's nice. It's not too expensive, and it's close to Charleston, which you can get some really great food. I don't know the situation down there or anything, but that was a really nice place and really good food around there.
Well, you're in South Carolina, so you're probably aware of that.
You want to go somewhere different?
Yeah, she lived in Charleston for like 2 years. So we went to Folly probably 6 or 7 times a year.
Retract.
No. Yeah. Other than that, no, we don't have any advice of where you can go.
I'll let you guys think about it.
It's kind of a weird time for travel.
Yeah, I know. You
it's
can't.
like, I don't know. Maybe you do go back to Folly Beach.
But I would tell you that, like, a lot can change in a month, though, Matt. That's the problem. Because how about you get an RV, go camping?
That might be what we do, but whatever I'm booking, I'm going to book like a week in advance because, like you said, who knows what's happening in a month. But
It doesn't matter when you're in love. Whatever you decide, I'm sure it's going to be great, Matt. That's my philosophy. When you're in love, yeah.
Love in the Caribbean sounds a lot better.
Do you have a stat of the day?
I do. Can I get the old school music?
Old school stat of the day music.
Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Here comes the start of the day!
After his win last weekend, Colin Morikawa has 2 wins and just 1 missed cut since joining the PGA Tour. He is the first player to accomplish this since Tiger Woods in '96. By the time the Big Cat missed his second cut in 2005, he had 43 wins and 9 majors.
Oh, man. Matt got swallowed up there.
Just like marriage.
Man. Thank you, Matt. Good luck in a month there. Yeah, he got, they flirt with the post. You got to hit the post. And he got hit by the post.
You got to get out of the gate fast.
Yep.
Or the post is going to come up quicker than you think.
But you can always tell because it's like a 2 or 3 second delay before they start with their stat of the day. They've timed it out, and then they start late, and then they start to rush, and you get crushed. More phone calls coming up, and we'll take a break back after this in the Dan Patrick Show. And when did you meet Mantle?
At a spring training game in 1966. I went over and got his autograph.
Because you're both from Oklahoma.
Yeah, and he was it. He was Mickey Mantle. That's what inspired me when I was 3 years old to hear Mickey Mantle batting. And I said, you can be from Oklahoma and play in the major leagues? I was asking my dad. And that's how I did it. And then he came to my, I had a golf tournament at the Hart Fund Invitational in Tampa, and he came to the tournament. And I have pictures on my wall of him pitching pennies with my dad outside the Ramada Inn. And that night, Mickey comes up to me. I'm over there, and he said, "Hey, John, let's go have a drink." Mickey's asking me to go have a drink because right across the street is the Marriott, and it's a disco. We got those back in those days. It's discos. They got the glass balls and everything else. I said, "Sure." So we walk across the street to the Marriott, and we walk up to the door of the disco, and a big bouncer's there and says, "John, you can come in, but we've already kicked out Mickey 3 times."
He was using you to get in. How much partying went on, though, back when you played?
Not for us. Not much for us.
You guys were that boring?
We were that conscientious, I think. In spring training when Sparky came, he gathered all the guys around, and he said, "Look, all right, you 25 are going to Cincinnati." So he said, "Now, there's 2 sets of rules here. Pete, Johnny, Joe, Joe, you don't have rules." I'm thinking, all right, even though we weren't staying out, I mean, it was like, but if you had something happen and you're fine. You don't have to sneak through the kitchen, do this stuff. And then he said, "The rest of you guys, you're going to do this, this, and this." And then he said, and I'm thinking, there's something going on. He said, "I don't have to worry about those 4 guys because they know what it takes. They know they'll be in. They'll have some time, but they're going to know what it takes to win." And it was just such a psychological thing for us. But we respected him. We really didn't. I mean, it was really, and a lot of times after a game, if you went to a restaurant or bar, you could take a team picture because we all hung out together.
Yeah, but no drinking.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
If you drink every day, you're fine.
Yeah. You're a professional.
Yeah, I mean, it's the pitcher that pitches, drinks after the game where he, and he has, "I've got a problem." Rest of us should have had a problem.
How does this one work?
That's where you get
Connect 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at this game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I could.
That's it.
I won.
You know who put this together? The big German did.
The German?
Yes. Oh, no, it was Tyler.
Oh, you know what you're supposed to do? Oh, my gosh. If you could take this part out, and then it would all dump out and then stay together.
Yeah.
This is part of the fun of when you're out camping or tailgating. You get to put this back together.
You probably want to take those out from underneath it.
Wait. Hold on.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the challenging part of
This is the game, isn't it?
Put it together in under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
There we go. See? Boom.
That's it.
Winner.
Play? Oh yeah, that's. Oh, I forgot about
See,
that.
then
part.
you just take
That way
out,
they don't
and then
fall out.
It'd probably work better that
Yeah,
way.
that way they don't.
You want to be blues or reds?
Whatever. I'll be red.
Okay, I'll be blue.
Ooh.
It's high speed, high stakes.
This is like high-speed chess.
Nice.
Oh, that didn't work the way I thought it was going
Oh no! Wait. I do this late.
Wait, you can't do that.
That is definitely
They're
against
not
the
allowed to do
rules.
that.
Definitely
McLovin,
against
once
the
it goes
rules.
in,
Isn't he
it's
red?
Yeah, I put in the wrong color.
Oh no!
Uh-oh, ball game.
That's
No.
Oh man.
Well, the way McLovin manipulates, he would just hold it in there.
Okay.
3, 2,
1.
Oh wait.
Get out of here.
Wait, what color am I? All right.
You're red.
Yes.
Where's Todd?
Weeks.
We got
10 seconds of what?
and we were discussing honeymoons too.
Oh, what the heck? Oh, look, it's coming apart again.
Oh man, I can't think. I totally just
Yeah,
panicked.
you just panicked hardcore.
I had you. I think I had you pinned.
Make sure you check out RockAuto.com. All the parts for your car or truck, RockAuto.com. Family business founded by automotive engineers in 1999, 2 goals in mind. Want to give you direct access to all the parts information hidden in the computers and catalogs behind the parts store counter. And it can be difficult if you have an older car or you're redoing a car, as I'm doing right now. Actually, I'm paying somebody to redo a car. Did you put the color out on social media?
No, because I didn't know if you wanted me to.
Yeah, you can. You can put that up on...
What step in the paint process are you?
Wet sanding. So it's sort of the beginning part of the process.
Is it going to be a matte gray or a shiny gray?
Shiny. It's stone gray, and it's going to be shiny. But it looked like it was matted when you saw it. But from a different angle, it's one of the more incredible colors that I've ever seen. But I'm watching somebody redo an old Porsche. By the way, it's Porsche. It's not Porsche.
Is that official?
Yeah. According to my brother, Dave, who's a Porsche snob. And every time I go, he'll go, how's the car coming? I said, man, that Porsche is, he goes, Porsche. And I go,
there is no substitute.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a 72, it's actually going to be an Outlaw. 72 Outlaw is what I'm going to do with this Porsche.
That's you.
Yeah, an Outlaw.
But I still have a buddy who says Jaguars. Jaguars, like wire. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Oh, because we would always make fun of it on SportsCenter, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Or the Jaguars.
Jaguar. Well, I think in England they say Jaguar. I think they add a little extra to that. By the way, back to RockAuto.com. You choose the part, brands, prices, features you want anytime, 24/7. And they deliver it right to your home or office. You don't have to waste time and money. That's another problem in redoing a car during the pandemic is trying to get people to work on it. Trying to get the headliner for the car and some parts here. But Rock Auto takes care of all that. You don't waste time phoning, driving, waiting in line. Go to rockauto.com. Make sure you tell them we sent you. Once again, I mentioned this yesterday. I've touched on it a little bit today. The Washington football franchise making headlines on Monday for finally retiring their team name. Now we're still waiting for what has been deemed a potentially damaging report that could expose the team's toxic culture. We don't know anything else other than what we're being told and the speculation that is attached to this. But a lot of NFL reporters have touched on this, but they haven't advanced the story. I don't know what the holdup is. My thought was maybe the lawyers are involved from the Washington Post and making sure they go over this, because there's probably going to be blowback from Daniel Snyder and the Washington Redskins with this. But we're waiting to see how ugly it potentially could be. But that is the story. And Paulie tried to get a hold of the sports editors at the Washington Post, just to say, when are you going to drop this story? Got no response from them. All right. Paulie says we're going with a new poll question.
Yes. So Paulie and I were discussing a new poll question as I buy for time, and we couldn't come up with one yet. But I tell you, at the top of next hour, Ethan Cooperson is going to give us one.
Ethan, our stats guy?
Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask you, should we put up Luka versus Zion as a poll? Because we were just debating it again in the last break.
Yes, Paul.
So you can make the case that there's no doubt that Zion Williamson is compelling, and for your franchise will sell more products, sell more tickets, make you more relevant. Luka Doncic is also a sure thing on the court. Would you think about taking Luka over Zion because of health reasons? Past health issues with Zion's knee and how that could play out for a guy who jumps in his
Well,
head.
I would take Luka over him.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Even with the marketing and this.
Yeah, because it's still the best marketing you can have is when you win. And as much as I love what the Pelicans are doing or trying to do in some of the pieces they have there, Luka, that kind of talent can win a championship for you. Zion is, a highlight machine, but Luka has the ball in his hands all the time. Zion is not although he's a better passer than people think, it's just Luka's able to do things at that size, and his ability to be able to shoot and pass. I mean, he's a triple-double. He can do what you need him to do. He just doesn't do it necessarily with the flair that Zion does, but then not many players do. Yes, McLevin.
How do we know he's not just a stat stuffer on Luka? Like, until he wins at the highest level, like LeBron and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, I don't know that Luka's going to win you a championship. He's
20.
He's 21. Yeah, I don't think he develops like a Kevin Durant. I don't know that he's ever unguardable like those guys. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not convinced that he's a surefire, he's going to win 3 NBA titles, guys.
Well, he's not one of those guys who relies on explosive moves.
That's kind of it. I eyeball him. I'm like, is that guy really that unstoppable?
Look, when I watched his highlight reel from Europe, I kept thinking he just does enough to get the shot off, just enough to get the dunk, just enough to get the pass. It was always just enough. And then he comes to the NBA and he does the same thing. It's just enough. So that's not by accident. That's just who he is and how he plays. Yeah, and it's not like he's not going to jump as high or slow down. His game is not predicated off that. Zion, let's face it, without that explosion, then he comes back to earth in more ways than one. Yeah, Paul.
Kevin Durant, age 20, second year in the league, averaged 25, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. Luka right now is averaging 29 points, 9.3 rebounds, and 9 assists.
Yes, McLevin.
But he's like James Harden. He's a huge volume shooter. He's only shooting 31% from 3. That's a real problem. I mean, that's a big deal.
He's 20.
He's 20. I know, but I'm just saying, like, he's scoring 30 points.
But you have to let him grow into himself. Like, what is his game going to be like in 5 years from now?
Could he be the next Harden? Would you buy that comparison?
No. I don't think there's another Harden.
Yeah, in the sense that he could score 1 million points and not win a title.
And now he's ball dominant, but then how many guys aren't ball dominant now of your stars? Feels like they're all ball dominant. We'll check in with LSU and their head coach, Ed Orgeron. He'll join us coming up. Final hour of the Dan Patrick Show after this. I don't know if many people know this. I do, because I do my homework. Steve Kerr once pitched in a game against Brett Saberhagen at Dodger Stadium. Now, this was not when Saberhagen was with Kansas City Royals, by the way. You were high school when you had this showdown?
Yeah, I was a junior in high school. He was a senior. City Finals, 1982 LA City Finals. That was one of the most fun experiences of my life, despite the fact that we lost 13-0.
He threw a no-hitter. But isn't it strange when you face somebody and it's just different than when you face somebody and you go, oh, my God, that's different. I don't know how filthy Saberhagen was back then. I'm assuming if he no-hit you guys, but how did you get your bat on the ball?
I did not. I didn't get to bat. I was the second pitcher who came in. We had a DH in high school. I don't know if they still have it or not. So I didn't get to bat, but the guys were coming back to the dugout just shaking their head. They said it's just on the black every time. And he's throwing like 92 in high school on the black. And the one thing I remembered is it's 13-0, top of the seventh, last inning, seven inning high school game, and our best hitter gets up in a no hitter and tries to bunt his way on.
That'll tell you everything about how great Saberhagen was that day.
Right?
Hey, everybody, you guys want to come over here and watch Mario do TV?
So we got a lot of reaction to Paul's morning meeting about
come on over here,
private
everybody.
chef or private plane. Okay. Private chef or private plane? I'm going to go with my answer first because I'd probably pick a chef because I this great body couldn't afford to miss a meal.
Play to the camera, not me, because I'm not.
I'm just playing
here.
everybody in the room.
We're just watching.
Everybody in the room here. So first off, we go with Sir James. He says, "Chef, easily. You eat every day. How often can you use your jet if you're still working? Now, if you can rent your jet."
Does he say
fair
you're
point.
eating every day?
Yeah, no, I'm reading it directly. You're eating in general. I think
I
people
thought he was talking about
not
you.
me. No,
They might have been
I
taking
don't
a
need.
shot.
I don't
That was
need
a
every
shot
day.
that he might
No, I
have
don't need
been-
every day. Look at my figure.
Go figure. Look at that. Yeah, I know. No, continue.
Now, if you can rent the jet, like Seaton said, that changes the game. You could do like an Uber Jets or something.
Once again, camera.
There you go, Uber Jets, right? Randy. Next one's from Randy. He says, "Jet easily. I can sort of cook, but I sure can't fly." Me neither. Next up, this is from Jim Tracy, who's a sports reporter at WSAZ, North Virginia. He says, "Jet, you can always find a good place to eat." You sure can. You sure can, Jim. Next up is...
Wait, these are the best ones?
Did you say he's from North Virginia?
West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
I said you sure can. Kind of came. Sounded like North.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one is from Jay. Jay says, "Jet, I love to cook. I'd probably be best.
Yeah, Brooks.
The kitchen telling the chef. I'd probably be in the kitchen telling the chef what to do. Reason why my wife says she doesn't cook. That's the reason you don't cook, right, Todd? Yeah. That's all I got.
A lot of
See you
carbs,
guys.
a lot of pasta in the old wife's kitchen.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, home to award-winning host Dan Patrick. Also home to Paulie, Seton, Fritz, and our new best friend, Ethan. Oh, and also McLovin. But back to Ethan.
I love that guy.
Ethan is an Ivy League grad of the highest pedigree.
The Ivy League school.
He went to Harvard?
He went to Harvard.
A man who contributes interesting stats and factoids for all of our entertainment.
And he's really good at what he does.
I heard he's 6'6".
Really on the fast track right now.
Bench pressed 230 pounds.
And he's from Philadelphia.
Pretty soon, people will be saying, Pearl who?
I'm Ethan Cooperson Light.
Yes.
From the Mercedes Man Cave, here's the original pre-Ethan crew.
It's going to change.
Of the Dan Patrick Show.
Welcome to the program. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the program. Final hour. Dan and the Danettes. Dan Patrick Show. We had a spirited discussion talking about the greatness of Luka Doncic and Zion Williamson. And if you could have either one right now, who would you take? To me, no brainer. As much as Zion is a TV star, Luka's a better basketball player. And feel like keep this in mind. Fewest games to 3,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 750 assists in an NBA career. This is all time. Oscar Robertson needed 99 games to get there. Luka is second at 124. Third is Grant Hill. And Grant Hill was going to be one of the greats who ever played the game if he had stayed healthy. And all of his surgeries, he was on a fast track for being one of the great players of all time. Larry Bird is fourth on the list, and then LeBron James. These are pretty impressive numbers for somebody who's that young to be able to do what they're doing. And Zion, I think Zion's been better than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be kind of a Julius Randle as far as a 2010 guy his first year. Now, he's got 23.5 and 7 rebounds. But, he's on a numbers crunch there. He's got 30 minutes. I think he's playing average of 30 minutes, maybe a little less than that. But, he said that he's kind of gone back to the basics here during the pandemic, and it looks like he's in even better shape there. That's a big concern I have. At that size, he's going to get bigger. And, can you carry that weight to be able to do what he does on a night in and night out basis? Can he get into a better weight? Or more muscle there. But, he's limited with his shot. He doesn't get off a shot, coming off a dribble to set shot. But he gets into the paint, he's going to score or he's going to get fouled. I think he's an underrated passer and offensive rebounder. But, Luka's just a better player. Yeah, McLovin.
Can either guy play defense?
Well, okay, do we do this? How many times do we do this where some guy's really good, like Steve Nash? Oh, who's he going to guard? Who's guarding him?
Yeah, but LeBron is a monster on defense. Kobe was amazing at defense. Jordan was amazing at defense.
Okay. But
the championship guys are
when's
amazing.
The last time somebody said, hey, Steph can't guard anybody?
The opposing coach and said, let's go at him 400 times a game.
So, and then how many titles does he have?
Yeah, I know. But
who's guarding him?
But
like Larry Bird didn't play defense. He played the passing lanes. I mean, I'll give you Patrick Beverly. I'll take Steph Curry.
What if I gave you like Kawhi versus Doncic? Like a guy like, age.
I would take Kawhi.
You like defense. That's why I'm saying that. You always stick to these guys. Like,
well, no. But how many players are like Kawhi?
Like LeBron, Kawhi. There's a few.
No, Kawhi wants to play defense. Yeah. He started as a defender. Remember, we didn't know about his offense. That appeared limited, but he was very good defensive player.
Well, how about the Jordan defensive hype? Was he that good on defense?
Oh, yeah. Yes, but he wanted the challenge. But I always thought Scottie was a better defender because I thought Scottie could defend everybody. And Michael wanted to play the passing lanes. Scottie was a great on-ball defender. I mean, you go back to what he did to Mark Jackson, our friend Mark Jackson in the NBA Finals, or conference finals. He picked him up full court, and it wasn't a good series for Mark Jackson. Scottie could guard anybody on the floor. But, we get caught up in, who can he guard? Yeah, Luka can't guard anybody. Who's guarding him? Can Zion play defense?
He sure doesn't. There's all these clips of him just watching his guy dunk the ball.
Yes. There was like a handful of players that you would, like Klay Thompson plays defense. Now, Klay Thompson will play both ends, but it's rare when you find, because you have to want to play defense. A lot of these guys, you can't go, boy, he's got all this talent on the offensive end, and he has no talent on the defensive end. I'm going to guess you can move your feet, you're quick, you can jump. You should be able to do that at the other end as well. Yes, Paulie?
I wonder how many league MVPs or finals MVPs have also been Defensive Player of the Year, because I know Jordan has. Maybe Olajuwon. I wouldn't be surprised if he was, I don't know if he was league MVP. He probably was once, and he was definitely defensive MVP. Kawhi Leonard, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA.
Yeah.
14 and 15, 16.
Yes, McLovin.
There's a lot of people saying Giannis might win it this year.
Yeah, and I could see that. You know, he's great two-way player. Anthony Davis has been a great two-way player.
I just read he's the competition. It's a two-man race for those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys are great at defense and could score like that.
Hakeem did it twice. Jordan did it once. Yeah, I don't. It feels like the way the game is played now, I don't know how important defense is. Everything is predicated by spacing and, how many shots are you getting up, shooting threes. Now, James Harden doesn't play defense. I like when they say, well, he's gotten better. Well, he had to get better, right? He couldn't have gotten any worse. You got to guard James Harden. So when you say, well, he's not guarding anybody, you still have to guard him. And not many people can guard him as well. All righty. We'll talk to Ed Orgeron. Or as Paulie said, is it Ed Orgeron or Orgeron?
I've heard it both ways.
Was it when he was at USC, it was pronounced one way, and then he got to LSU, and maybe down in Baton Rouge, they pronounce it differently?
I think they dropped the first R when he got down to Baton Rouge.
So it's
added
just
some W's, lost the R.
Orgeron. Ed Orgeron.
You can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner there, Danny. Is that a bad impersonation? It didn't sound anything like him. Yeah.
Well, why don't you do that for Coach?
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, just say, hey, Coach, Fritzy has an impression of you.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? I hope we're going to have 50,000, 100,000 in the stands.
Is that your Springsteen impersonation?
A little mix of Ed Orgeron and Bruce Springsteen. All right, football now.
Thank you, Todd.
Death Valley.
Thank you, Todd.
All right.
Thank you, Todd. All right, so are we going to go with the poll question?
We got to put up Zion versus Luka,
right.
Which is, by the way, not that different than our first 2 hours, which was Kittle, McCaffrey, Michael Thomas, and McCaffrey ran away with.
Do you think Luka runs away with this?
Luka is the Christian McCaffrey of the NBA.
Ooh, okay.
Enormous record-setting numbers. They're both like ridiculously young.
Yeah, but Luka plays on a playoff team.
That's true.
And McCaffrey is not going to be on a playoff team anytime soon. Yeah, Paul.
Whose agent would you rather be, Patrick Mahomes or Zion Williamson? One's global, or about to be global. One is the face of the NFL.
I'd have to look at what numbers are going to be like in the NBA, because the hit that they took from the billions they lost from China, I don't know if that affects the salary cap here. But how many years before Zion gets into that next contract? And what is he going to get paid?
Does his year at Duke count as an accrued season? I don't know.
Wow.
I'm just reading the headlines.
Wow. Wow. That story kind of went away, right? It just sort of floated off.
You'll see a headline every few days about the case.
I know. But every time, you read these articles and, breathlessly saying, oh, Kansas and Bill Self are in trouble. And then you read it and then you go, okay. And then you wait and you go, anybody? Nope, nothing here. Because the NCAA is waiting for Yahoo or ESPN or somebody to do a deep dive on these stories. They should be paying Yahoo Sports. Like Dan Wetzel should get a stipend from the NCAA to do some of their dirty work there, because they're not doing it. Let me see. Get some phone calls in here. Did you see where Jimmy Butler got in trouble at the inside the bubble? Yeah. He hotel security went to Jimmy Butler's room after complaints of loud basketball dribbling. Yes,
So was that other basketball players complaining about Jimmy dribbling the ball too loud?
I don't think there's a family downstairs at the hotel. Yes, Todd.
Supposedly they didn't know what it was at first. They heard some loud thumping sound, and someone called complaining about, I don't know if it was necessarily a player or just some family trying to enjoy a relaxing stay at Disney, and they hear this loud thumping, and it turns out he's just dribbling a basketball. He's in his full practice uniform, trying to just kind of do his own thing and get ready for the season.
Didn't he arrive for his first practice with the Miami Heat at 3:30 in the morning? Right?
Sit outside?
I think he showed up like 6 hours or something before the practice. It was a scheduled shoot around or something. But, dribbling the basketball. Hey, knock it off! I don't think you're going to have a family underneath him that in the hotel. I'm just guessing, but I don't think that they're going to be underneath you. Yeah, McLevin.
I like the joke we made. What if they had families in there and you didn't know about the NBA bubble and you were walking around the lobby? Why is everyone so tall in this hotel? What is going on here?
Are they having a tall convention?
Like you're with Kristaps and JaVale McGee, it'd be like, this is the weirdest.
I think you got to be over 6'8" to be in this hotel. It still goes back to, I think, one of the greatest stories that I ever heard, and it's right out of a Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. Because you cannot, even when I tell you the story, you're going to go, there is no way that is possible. And it did happen. Because a friend of mine, he worked in the mailroom at ESPN when he first started. And his job was to go pick up people. He'd be a driver for some people, executives who were coming in. Somebody had landed at the airport. He'd go pick up Dick Vitale. And he was given the assignment of picking up a man who largely transformed SportsCenter into what it is today, in John Walsh. So my friend is told to go pick up John Walsh at the Radisson Hotel, which is right across the street from the mothership. And they go, okay, I don't know what he looks like. You can't miss him. He's an albino. So my friend goes over to the Radisson Hotel and walks in. It's an albino convention. And he calls back and he says, they're all albinos here. Like he thought he was being punked. So he walks in. You can't miss John. He's an albino. He'll be waiting for you. He walks in and he said, everybody in there, 50 albinos there in the lobby. It was like an albino convention. And meanwhile, John Walsh, who was just starting his tenure at ESPN. God, I love that story, though. Can't miss him, Mike. Go in there. He's in the lobby. They're all albinos here. And John Walsh loves telling the story, too. Like when it came to albino humor, Walsh always had some funny lines about that. Let me see. A couple of phone calls in here. Walt in Cincinnati joins us. Hi, Walt. What do you have for me today?
Hey, Dan. First-time caller, 75 years old, 5'9", 212. I would like for you to wish my oldest son his 50th birthday today. His name is Mark.
Hey, Mark, happy 50th birthday. And you got a great dad who called into a wonderful radio show. So I hope you have a great day. And thank you, Walt, for calling in. Andy in Tennessee on the program. Hi, Andy. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Dan. 5'8", 170. Yeah, so I actually went to the All-Star race last night. Had a great time. Can't complain about going to see some live sports and racing. Will say that they do need to do some adjustments for crowds. Seating was fine. I felt spaced out.
Well, let me mention here, Andy, we're talking about Bristol Motor Speedway, and they had around 20,000 fans there for a place that holds over 120,000. What were the rules when you went into the NASCAR race event?
So the rules were is when you go to basically go in through the ticket booth, you have to have a mask on, and then you have to have a mask on while you walk through the concourses, and then when you sit down, you can take off your mask. Now, I'll say, yeah, when you sit down in your seat, you feel pretty comfortable. It's pretty spaced out in that track. But when you're walking through the concourses, it was pretty crowded. I mean, there was a lot of people not wearing masks, and they didn't really have a lot of social distancing when you're waiting in line for concessions. and different things like that. But I think once they go towards maybe NFL stadiums, I mean, they're going to do maybe a lot less than 20,000 because it can get crowded in those concourses.
Yeah, and thank you, Andy. We were wondering about that, and I thought this was going to be maybe an underplayed story because 20,000 fans at a sporting event, and, it's outside, NASCAR event at night, and I wondered what happens once you get to your seat where you're allowed to take off your mask. If you're going to have a college football scenario, can you put in 25 or 30,000 fans in a stadium that seats 100,000? Can Michigan put in 30,000 fans safely? Can Tennessee Volunteers put in 30, 40,000 in a place that holds over 100,000? This is what I'm curious about. Can we do it safely, smartly, and then maybe we do get fans that go to sporting events? But I just didn't know once you got into the concourse, you went up to get a beer, get something to eat, and everybody's up there without mask on. Therein lies the problem. But NASCAR with 20,000 fans, which I thought was surprising. Rob in Florida joins us. Hi, Rob. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Dan. How you doing?
Good, sir.
6'1", a hefty 2.5 Bills. Hey, I wanted to kind of chime in on the NBA defense discussion. I got a couple numbers and a quick story. First, to defend my guy Harden. He's constantly in the top 10 in blocks and steals among guards every year. And he's one of the best post defenders in the NBA percentile-wise. But a quick story. This isn't just Harden specific, but I played in a church league. I am not an athlete, as I said, 6'1", 2.5. But we had a guy who played on our team. He's a good friend of mine, played in the G League, played overseas, had some injuries that derailed an NBA potential career. But he scored all our points every game that we played. He would go for 70 points a game, and the rest of us would have 8. But when it came to the defensive side, I was tasked with guarding the best player, not because I was the best basketball player, but he was so tired. And I see in the NBA a lot of guys are asked to carry the load offensively, these volume shooters like Luka, like Trae Young, like Harden, not so much now anymore with Russ by his side, but they can't keep it up on both sides of the floor, which was what made Mike so great and Kobe and LeBron. But just the NBA nowadays, there's not as much emphasis on defense.
No, and you bring up some great points. Thank you, Rob. That I've always marveled at Iverson at that size. Every single night he had to bring it. And if you've never had that pressure, it's enormous. You have to get shots up, volume. The offense, is predicated on you being able to get shots off. And Harden doing that every night, Trae Young doing that every night, Allen Iverson. I thought Iverson could have been a great two-way player. I thought at Georgetown he could have been a great two-way player. He got into the NBA, and he was a great one-dimensional player. But he would lead the league in steals. A lot of your guys who are scorers can play the passing lanes. Like they'll cheat a little bit. Bird played the passing lanes all the time. Barkley, because they're trying to get the ball back. Steph Curry plays the passing lanes. Iverson play they're not great lockdown defenders, but they're great off the ball defenders from the standpoint of they're playing the passing lanes. And I remember when Steph Curry was at Davidson, and the knock was, well, what position is he going to play? Who is he going to guard? And I always, and maybe this is an offensive mentality that I have, and that is you still have to guard that guy. And Steve Nash, when I saw him in Santa Clara, I went, he can't guard me. And I didn't mean it as any disrespect, but you realize how great some of these guys are at the other end and how much pressure that puts on you and how that changes your game plan and your rotations and your substitutions. And not enough credit is given to those players. And I knock Harden all the time that he doesn't play defense. I want you to at least try to play defense. Like just try to do that. And maybe he is better, but there was a time when, LeBron got called out by his own teammates, the previous year. He was mailing it in on defense. But then there's part of that, you must pace yourself, especially if you're LeBron. Jordan, that ability to be that kind of player at both ends. When you have the same kind of intensity at one end, You know, Kobe, towards the end of his career, he's not playing defense. I don't know if Michael ever got to that point, maybe with the Wizards, but he took every challenge. And that's a guy who didn't have another speed. It was one speed. Whereas some of these other players, and I can't even put Jordan in that conversation. I mean, it's just not fair to anybody else. He played one speed, but still at the other end played the same speed. And that's exceptional. That's so hard to do. Todd's going to do his impression of Ed Orgeron.
Oh, no.
To the wait.
I know it's not that great, but I'll do it. I'm going to get. He's not going to be.
You probably. We were just talking about how to pronounce his name. You know, gave us the voice.
You didn't put me on the spot.
I know, but you did that
volunteered
early before the show started, and then you didn't get any reaction.
I gave him another shot.
I
should have just let it. Maybe I'll try again.
I know, but we didn't give you a reaction the first time you did it 3 hours ago.
But now you're in my head. I'm like, it sounds too much like Bruce Springsteen. My attempt to try to sound like Coach, and that's going to come out.
Yes, Paulie.
It doesn't sound anything like Ed Orgeron. It sounds more like, remember Chuck D'Amato? That wasn't the coach of NC State, or maybe a little Rick Majerus sprinkled in there.
Not a lot of people are calling for those kind of impressions.
It's niche, but
yeah.
Fritzy's nailed it.
Hey, can you do the Chuck D'Amato impression,
I couldn't
Tom?
do that in Vegas, a Rick Majerus show or something like that in person.
Maybe. All right, let me take a break here. By the way, the NFL Players Association has announced the number of players who have tested positive as of last week. I'm going to give you an over-under of 75. Give you the answer after this on the Dan Patrick Show. Randy Hundley was underrated, though.
Oh, he was fabulous.
Now,
He and Grody.
Did he teach you to put your hand behind your back?
No, I broke my thumb twice.
With a foul tip? Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is stupid. I got this round glove, and it's hard to miss that thumb. I don't know if you've said this thumb right here. It's hard to miss that. And I broke it twice, and I said, this is stupid. And I saw Randy had caught like 160 games, and he was using it. So when I got there, I just stuck my hand down and stuck it out of the way, and I never had another broken bone in my right hand. It was just something I had to do. And I have a book called Catch Every Ball, How to Handle Life's Pitches. And people come up to me and say, my kid wants to be a catcher. What do I tell them? Just catch every ball. If you learn to catch every ball, the same thing in life. But catching every ball, all of a sudden say, man, this guy can really catch. Or this lady can really catch.
Did you have knuckleballs? I'm trying to think who you would have caught.
We had a guy named Aubrey Gatewood in AAA in 1967. And he was a journeyman, and he was on the way out, so he decided he'd throw the knuckleball. I mean, it was embarrassing. I don't care. I don't care how good a hand you are. This thing is dodging and bopping. And so Aubrey didn't make it, and I came to the major leagues, and I did it, and I was very good. I went along, no knuckleballers. And Sparky called me in the office one day.
Sparky Anderson, the manager.
Oh, yeah, the great. He said, John, we have a chance to trade for Negro. What do you think? I said, I think you better trade for his catcher, too. I'm not going out there.
What's up, everybody? Marvin Prince here. Thank you so much for the interaction, everybody. I got one from Jim in New York. Talks about Syracuse running backs. We were talking earlier about our favorite running backs from different colleges. We got Syracuse. You got Jim Brown, Floyd Little, Ernie Davis, Joe Morris, and Larry Zonka. Larry Zonka, former host of American Gladiators. Running backs in Alabama from 2013, Derrick Henry, TJ Yeldon, Kenyon Drake, and Alvin Kamara were all in the same backfield in the same year. Alvin Kamara redshirted. He couldn't even get on the field. And one more from Jason Ellis. Georgia, Herschel Walker, Rodney Hampton, Garrison Hurst, Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, Noshawn Moreno, Terrell Davis, and Robert Edwards. It's only a couple more than UConn. All right, that's all I got, guys. Thanks so much for the interaction. Chat row.
I don't know if many people know this. I do, because I do my homework. Steve Kerr once pitched in a game against Brett Saberhagen at Dodger Stadium. Now, this was not when Saberhagen was with Kansas City Royals, by the way. You were high school when you had this showdown?
Yeah, I was a junior in high school. He was a senior. City Finals, 1982, LA City Finals. That was one of the most fun experiences of my life, despite the fact that we lost 13-0.
He threw a no-hitter. But isn't it strange when you face somebody and it's just different than when you face somebody and you go, oh my God, that's different. I don't know how filthy Saberhagen was back then. I'm assuming if he no-hit you guys, but how did you get your bat on the ball?
I did not. I didn't get to bat. I was the second pitcher who came in. We had a DH in high school. I don't know if they still have it or not. So I didn't get to bat, but the guys were coming back to the dugout just shaking their head. They said it's just on the black every time. And he's throwing like 92 in high school on the black. And the one thing I remembered is it's 13-0, top of the seventh, last inning, seven inning high school game, and our best hitter gets up in a no hitter and tries to bunt his way on.
That'll tell you everything about how great Saberhagen was that day,
right?
This program brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT four-door coupe because life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any of our interviews from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to the Dan Patrick Show app or danpatrick.com, where you can watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, Mercedes-AMG driving performance. NFL Players Association announces 72 players tested positive for COVID-19 as of July 10th. I'd like to know out of how many, though, because I don't know if that's an alarming number or not, but it's 72. Paulie just gave me the news here. Pelican Zion Williamson has left Orlando to tend to an urgent family medical matter, plans to return for season restart at a later date. That's going to push him back because then he's going to have to be quarantined again. He's the head coach of the LSU Tigers. He's Ed Orgeron, who joins us on the program. Coach, you look good. You look like you're in shape. Great tan. Hair looks good. What have you been up to?
It's summertime. It's a lot of time to work out during this COVID-19 break that we had. We're excited to have our team back then. We're ready to go.
What's your max bench? What can you do, bench?
About 315.
315 or 350?
15.
Wow. All right. Yeah. If all of the SEC coaches had a bench press contest, who's winning?
I don't know. I don't ask them that.
You can do more than Saban, though. We know that.
He's a great coach.
What is different now at this stage of the summer as opposed to last year in how you're preparing your team?
Obviously, in July, our staff would be off the whole month of July. We'd be on vacation right now, and we'd be ready getting ready for camp. But now we have our team with us. We haven't practiced spring ball. We're trying to catch up. We have 2 hours a week with them right now. We have a half hour film today, and then we have a football school coming up in July 24th. So we're going to be able to go out and do some walkthroughs and practice all the way up to camp.
And I saw where at Bristol, Tennessee, Bristol Motor Speedway, they had 20,000 fans for a NASCAR race last night. Can you see a scenario where you could have social distancing for an LSU game for 30,000?
Yeah, I think it's going to be possible to get fans in the stadium. Obviously, that's not my decision. This is only my opinion. But I think with masks and with testing for fevers and having the appropriate people at the game, that we could put fans in the stadium.
What was it like meeting with the vice president?
Outstanding. He was very aggressive in wanting the schools open and education and us to play football. They had a lot of people that was talking about the things that are going on around the country. But he wants football. He wants the schools to be open. And I do believe he's representing President Trump.
How did that meeting come about with Vice President Pence?
You know, the governor, he has a great relationship. I think that Louisiana has done a great job with COVID-19. I think our governor has done a great job with COVID-19. And I think that our school has educated our players and given them the best help in COVID-19 possible. So he wanted to come down here and talk to us, see what we were doing, find out some answers, and go back to the president.
When's the last time you talked to Joe Burrow?
I talked to Joe about a month ago. We miss him. We miss him every day here. What a great player for the Tigers.
When did you know you had something special with Joe?
You know, I do believe it was the 3rd and 17 against Texas. It was a blitz. We had to make a play. He dodged a rusher, made a big play. We scored a touchdown. I felt that we had a winner in Joe that could make the big play in the big game.
But it comes down to a single play that you're talking about, that you saw something that was special. That's interesting.
Yeah, you know, you got to make the plays on the field, and I always believe that he can do it. He's a very smart football player. The first time I met him, we had about a 2-hour football meeting. There were 6 people in the meeting, including me, and he was the smartest person in the room, and I liked it.
It's kind of hard to go out and get another Joe Burrow. So what's the challenge? Well, you know, how's that process been, and the fact that you can't have these workouts, you know, in person?
You know, we have a young quarterback in Miles Brennan who's waiting his turn here. He's very talented. It's his time. All I told Miles is I want you to be the best Miles Brennan possible. Now, we're not going to compare him to Joe, but if he is as good as Joe, I promise you, nobody will be disappointed.
We're talking to Ed Orgeron, the LSU head football coach. Actually, we had a question about this. I thought when you were at USC, your name was pronounced differently, like the R was a little more involved, and then you get to LSU, and it feels like they dropped the first R here. So could you be on the record here with me, Ed?
Orgeron.
Orgeron. You're throwing a little Louisiana, a little Cajun in there now.
Yeah. Hey, I'm back home. I'm not in L.A. It's 110% Cajun now.
But if you were back in L.A., then it might be pronounced differently.
No question. And I wouldn't mind.
How good a player were you growing up?
I was okay. I was a good player. Not a great player, a good player.
How does that affect in how you coach or what you look for? Are you looking for players that were like you?
You know, I look for players that were better athletes than I was, especially at LSU right now. We're in an elite level. But I look for players that have heart, grit, and toughness.
You had so much talent last year, and I've been watching college football a long time. I don't know if I've seen more talented players, certainly offensively, than you had last year. It was almost an embarrassment of riches there, Ed. I mean, how do you balance keeping not everybody happy because it's college, but how do you spread the wealth there?
Yeah, you know, we had a great scheme, and especially when you go to the spread. There were a lot of opportunities, but it all started with our coaching staff. They had a great plan. And then Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow knew exactly where to go with the football. I think Steve Ensman did a tremendous job of putting in the spread offense. It's something that LSU has needed for over the years with all the great talent. Here's what I told them. Get our players the football, get them some space, and let them make plays, and we did it.
What is the key in recruiting? Like, how did you close guys? And you know, all those USC players and certainly what you've done at LSU. I mean, you're competing with the elite here to get these. So who are you closing, the parents or the player?
The champion, the decision maker. Who is the decision maker?
Mom.
And most of the time it's mom. You're right. And they have to trust you. and you have to develop a relationship, and it has to be a long-lasting relationship. It can't be a short-term relationship. They have to trust you.
If mom is cooking, you have to eat what mom is cooking, correct?
I've got no problem with that unless it's liver. If it's Joe Burrow's mama, I probably ate liver too.
Didn't you recruit The Rock at the U?
You know, Bob Cornellis recruited The Rock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I did coach The Rock, and he's a friend of mine. Love him to death. His nickname was Dewey, and he was a very good football player.
Yeah, I talked to Ray Lewis about that. It's weird that here's The Rock, who's a billionaire, and Ray Lewis was talking about, he just kept calling him Dewey. Like, he was going to, he's not The Rock, he's not Dwayne Johnson, he's just Dewey. But if he didn't get hurt, is The Rock, doing something different? Could he have been a pro football player?
No question. I think he'd have been a pro football player and been a real good one.
Did you pick up boxing in the off season?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it.
You ready to take on anybody, or you just shadow boxing?
No. I'm just learning my technique. I'm using it for a cardiovascular workout.
You look good, though. You look like you lost some weight here.
Lost a little weight, feel better. Lost about 25 pounds, ready to go.
When did you first acquire that voice?
I think I was born with it.
No, you didn't. You didn't have that at like 3, Ed. Like 6.
Over my coaching career, I think it got rougher and rougher. I think I wore out some vocal cords in there, so I think we had checked out.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I can't imagine you at 6 saying, "Mom, I want something for dinner." Be scaring her. Hey, it's great to talk to you, and congrats. And all we're asking is, what do you do for an encore after last season? No pressure whatsoever, right?
No pressure. I enjoy every day being the head coach of the LSU Tigers. I believe we have a very good football team. We're just getting started. We're an ascending program. I can't wait to get started.
Don't you have the best two-way player in college football?
Well, he has a chance to be one, but I told his dad that he's only going to play defense for 2 years.
Oh.
In his 3rd year, he can play both ways. And Derek Stingley, he is a phenomenal football player.
You know, it's strange. I thought he was the best player on your team.
He could be. And, Jamar Chase is a pretty good football player also. We have a great receiver coming back. We have a great young class coming back. This is the best freshman class that we've recruited here. We're excited about our young football team.
Yeah, Derek Stingley. And I thought that's a guy who could win the Heisman if he played both ways. I really think that, though, Ed. I think he's that talented. And somebody saw him when he first got to camp, and then they were telling me the story. They said they realized this guy is already an elite defensive back, and he just got to camp against all those great athletes at LSU last year. So I don't know if you run the risk of, or you have the urge that, let's give him a couple of reps on offense and, just to have some fun with that or get some more hype for him. But maybe he doesn't need any more hype than I'm giving him right now. But, man, I think he could be a two-way player and win a Heisman.
Well, you have some good thoughts there. This 3rd year that if he wants to touch the ball on offense, we're going to give him some reps.
Is there anything you want me to help you with? Coaching tips, anything? I mean, I'd be more than happy to help you while you got me, but then this is a freebie, Ed.
Yeah, that was pretty good. You
Okay.
remind me about Derek in the offense.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Hey, great to talk to you, and congrats again, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Go Tigers.
All right. That's Ed Orgeron. You got a little Cajun in there, though. Ed sneaking a little Cajun. Orgeron. Yes, Paulie.
One of the reasons I love college football, because if I was going to do a movie about LSU football and hire a head coach to play the role, I'd hire Ed Orgeron. He looks and sounds like the LSU head coach if you're doing a movie.
Oh, yeah, central casting. If the
Blind Side?
They would always have these schools that they give you that fictitious name, but then you would have the coach. Like Nick Nolte, when he played a basketball coach in Blue Chips, he was trying to be Bobby Knight, but Ed's unique. Plus, when you're a closer, when you're out on the recruiting trail, and he was a great recruiter, but when you're out there on the road and you gotta charm, and you gotta charm mom normally. His mom, a lot of times, making the decisions there. I saved you the embarrassment of not doing the Ed Orgeron.
I was hoping you weren't going to go to me with that.
Yeah.
I don't think that would have went well. He looks like he has a good sense of humor, but if it's a very bad impression, we're just wasting everybody's time.
I protected you.
I think that's a good decision.
Thank you, Steve. All right, let me take a break here. We'll close up shop. Last call for phone calls, what we learned, what's in store tomorrow, and we'll try to do all of that next year on the Dan Patrick Show. McLevin, you said there was a music poll question that the listeners sent in?
A lot of people have been sending in poll questions. Patrick Gilday, Pat Bear on Twitter, greatest
McLevin, you said there was a music poll question that the listeners sent in?
A lot of people have been sending in poll questions. Patrick Gilday, Pat Bear on Twitter, greatest rock band of all time. And he gave some choices. Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, or Queen. Now, I know the Beatles seems like an obvious answer, but if the question is rock band, what is your... I think we have four
it's
different
Rolling
answers.
Stones. It's not even close. Rolling Stones, greatest rock and roll band of all time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I would have thought you might say Zeppelin.
No, it's different when you're talking about the greatest rock and roll band. There's more to the Stones than to Zeppelin. Like Zeppelin, to me, that kind of music with how they did it was the beginning of something for a lot of different bands. The Stones did a lot of different things, just multifaceted. And businessmen, and you know, they did it. They knew what they were doing, I think, before a lot of other bands did. The Beatles weren't rock and roll, in my opinion. The Beatles were boy band to heavy or to hard rock. They could do a lot of different things, but they could give you Abbey Road and Let It Be, but then they could give you Helter Skelter. Whereas Zeppelin, they could give you Stairway to Heaven, and then they could give you Whole Lot of Love or Heartbreaker, Livin', Lovin', Made, something like that. Whereas the Stones catalog is just it's incredible. And I would say the Stones.
Queen in the conversation? I know a lot of Queen fans.
The greatest frontman of all time is Freddie Mercury. If you say Robert Plant, Mick Jagger, Steven Tyler, Lennon, McCartney were both frontmen, but Freddie Mercury was the most dynamic frontman that I ever witnessed. So I would say that he was the best frontman. Best rock and roll band is Rolling Stones. Paulie?
When you watch those old Queen concert videos, there's be 80,000 people at Wembley, and he's running the show.
Yeah,
I think that's what you mean by frontman there. With 80,000 people, every eye is on him, and he's controlling the entire crowd.
If you listen to what Queen did, like Bohemian Rhapsody, like you listen to it and you're going, how did he hear that? How did he, with the lyrics that he has, and made it anthemic? I mean, the We Are the Champions. There's just a fascination with what people hear and how they hear it, and that's what separates great from the all-time greats. Yeah, Seton.
Right, there are some times that you hear a song, and I'll be listening, like Bohemian Rhapsody is a perfect example. I'm like, how the hell did they start writing this? And then when did they know to stop? Because the song, it changes shape so many times over the course of the song that you're like, how did they even know when this song was finished?
Yes.
How did they? And then after this part, here's what we're gonna do, and you're like, good God.
Yes. There's so much to Bohemian Rhapsody, and you're just going, I don't know how somebody hears that, to put it together.
Congratulations to Joe Babick. We've learned he's a native of Pennsylvania. We're not sure if he still lives there, but native of Pennsylvania, Joe Babick. Congratulations on figuring out the scoreboard. 43, the clue is, how about that birthday? 43. How about that birthday? It means in 1943 on this day, NFL and Fox studio analyst, Cowboys and Dolphins head coach Jimmy Johnson was born. Happy birthday to Jimmy Johnson. 77 today, but I went with 43 because he was born in 1943. For number 20, the clue is, I ain't lying. This guy could run. I ain't lying. And Paulie got it. Number 20, Barry Sanders. On this date in 1968, Hall of Fame running back Barry Sanders was born. Happy 52nd birthday to Barry Sanders. Jimmy Johnson's birthday, 1943. Number 20, Barry Sanders, his birthday, 52 today. Happy birthday, Jimmy Johnson, and the man, Barry Sanders.
Once again, Zion Williamson has left the bubble, tend to an urgent family medical matter. Plans to return for the season restart at a later date. Now, they don't have much time to try to make up some ground there, and if they're not going to have Zion Williamson for a few of those games, going to be even a longer shot. It's already a long shot that they would make the playoffs, but with him, they won 10 of 19 games. Without him, 18 and 27. So obviously a big difference there in scoring output, and you can go down the numbers there. But right now, Zion Williamson not with the Pelicans in the bubble. Final results of the poll question, McLevin.
Who would you rather start a team with, Luka or Zion, was our 3 poll. Luka, 54%.
Okay. Brian Baumgartner, he played Kevin on The Office, as a new podcast about the oral history of The Office. He'll join us on the program tomorrow. One of our favorites. Yeah, I heard a story that Jim Halpert, he wears a wig in one of the seasons on The Office. So John Krasinski has a wig on.
That looks like his hair when I watch the show. Like, it looks like a big floppy early mess.
Yeah.
First few years.
Yeah. But he was doing a movie with George Clooney. Was it Leathernecks, that football movie? Leatherheads. And I guess he had really short hair, and they said, well, we'll let you do it, but you got to wear a wig.
When they did that movie, we actually had Clooney on the show. I think that's the last time we had Clooney on. He was promoting that movie.
Yes, he.
John Krasinski's hair in The Office wasn't his?
One season, he wore a wig. Sources close to me tell me. But we can talk to Brian about that. By the way, when you think of The Office, like the show Friends, has become even bigger, since they went off the air. I mean, the whole new generation is, watching, absorbing The Office, just like Friends. And even the second time around, Friends still isn't any good. But The Office is still great. When you factor in that the second episode of The Office, they didn't even know if they were going to survive. I think they said you get to do 6 episodes. And they didn't even know if they'd get to a second season. The second episode is diversity training. That's where you build up some house, cred to, with the network to say, we're going to do something that's really controversial. And they did it the second episode. I found that amazing. So we'll talk to Brian Baumgartner. He was Kevin on The Office. I'm sure Kevin hears the word chili quite a bit. One of the great episodes of all time when he brought in the chili and spilled it in the office. Loved it. Brian in D.C. Hey, Brian, what do you have for me today?
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Good, sir.
First time, long time listener. 5'6", 275 solid pounds.
Okay.
Okay, I just called because I love that interview with Ed Orgeron. It kind of sounded like that musician Tom Waits.
Ooh.
That raspy voice of his. Sounds good to me, though. But hey, thanks for the laughs. I really enjoy your show, and thanks, man.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, Tom Waits, great songwriter. Usually when somebody says Tom Waits, it's great songwriter, not necessarily great singer. But you hear that voice. Didn't he do Closing Time? Or is it called Closing Time? Or I Hope That I Don't Fall in Love with You?
Closing time.
No, that's Semisonic.
One more time for
That's not Tom Waits.
every new beginning comes from some other beginnings. And that was Tom Waits?
No. Tom Waits does
I think it's called Closing Time.
Closing
yeah.
Time, or I Hope That I Don't.
Closing Time. It's the most heartbreaking.
Was that your Ed
song.
Orgeron?
That was my Tom Waits.
Oh.
Till closing time.
Does Ed Orgeron do Tom Waits at karaoke? That's his go-to.
Wouldn't it be great if he did like Celine Dion?
Dear far, wherever you are.
Ready? Ready.
Didn't see that one coming.
No, I did not. Not today. Not today. I did not. And then Paulie sends me this article this morning. I start my day this way. I come in and Paulie says, sent you an article. And I look in my my computer and I go, men should limit alcohol to 1 drink a day. Experts now advise. And I go, what are you doing? Why are you doing that to me to start my day?
I actually read down on the article, and they're not saying that more drinks is necessarily bad for you, but if you have other conditions, drinking more can make it worse, which is kind of obvious. So they're saying people shouldn't drink multiple drinks if they have any health issues.
What if you go over for 6 days and then do 7 in one shot?
Right, 7 a week and just put them all on Saturday.
Well, there are people who do wait for the weekend to drink, binge drink a little bit.
Everybody's working for the weekend.
Sorry.
What's worse, Seaton's Ed Orgeron / Tom Waits or Fritzy's Bruce Springsteen?
Seaton does a very good Ed Orgeron, I thought.
He started hitting it there at the end.
But Ed Orgeron singing that's different. I'm trying to expand.
That is niche. That is. Yeah. We do impressions. It's Ed Orgeron singing karaoke.
Impressions you never asked
for. No. But it's saying 12 ounces of beer or 5-ounce glass of wine or shot of liquor.
12-ounce beers?
Why don't you just get a bigger glass for your beer and have 1 drink a night? Just like a big, huge stein.
Yes, for
I think that column also suggests that you can't make it up in the next day. You can't not drink for 2 days and then you can have those drinks on the 3rd day.
Yeah, but I'm going to make up my own rules. They can't make up my rules. I make my own rules. I'm going to do my own study. Tequila for everybody. Yay. This day in sports history, Paulie.
1950, Dan. Uruguay versus Brazil, World Cup soccer, the finals in Rio. Biggest crowd to ever watch a sporting event. Who can guess? Closest to the hole. How many people were at the World Cup final? Wow, this is nuts in 1950.
232,000.
199,000 people.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it?
1970, the Pirates played their first game at Three Rivers.
Oh, the Ashtray. Another Ashtray Stadium. The Reds started that, and then Pirates and Phillies, they followed suit. Big Ashtray Stadium.
That's it.
Todd, what did you learn on today's program?
You think the Derrick Henry deal is great for both Derrick and the Titans?
Yeah, I like it. That it's, okay, you didn't set record-setting numbers there, and but you got a number that seems smart for both sides there. McLevin, what did you learn today?
Chris Haynes brought some pairs of shoes to the bubble that he probably won't be able to wear.
There's like 8 pairs of tennis shoes. Seton O'Connor Jr. III.
It's Orgeron, and it's 110% Cajun.
Paulie?
8 pairs of shoes, Chris Haynes.
What we learned brought to you by the great folks at Raycon. Their wireless earbuds, the way to go. Hey, bud. Get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick. Want to thank everybody involved, radio-wise, TV-wise, chat row. Do it again tomorrow. Seton, Paulie, Fritzy, McLevin, yours truly. This has been the Dan Patrick Show.